are up. We are ready for day 3. We are hoping for something that makes sense. Today in the trial, I am absolutely lost. In this scenario, in this situation, y'all, I am so lost because I had a conversation last night with my bestie, and she said, first of all, it would have been, we gonna get him. No matter what we got to do, no matter how long we got to wait, no matter which way we got to cooperate, he gone. After he would have been in jail, I would have been his first visit. And I would have said they gave him all the attitude I wanted to give him. She said, but I don't think, when I was showing her little bits and pieces of Bestie for the rest, she was like, well, what's her fucking problem? So it looks like a general consensus was Najee lied, but why? Like, why? It don't even seem like there's a reason to lie. Why? Why are we lying, right? The next one. Couple people said a few things to me because I'm like, why is Blaise lying about their relationship when they said they were getting to know each other? Like, there's nothing wrong with getting to know each other. And it was brought to my attention how quickly we forget, ma'am. It's been a couple times that we headed up to the hospital to see somebody and they said nobody but close family and friends, and all of a sudden you went from friend to sister. Touche. Call me out. Touche, bitch. Touche. So it was like, it's not that it was his friend. It was his friend. It was his friend. It was his friend. But that doesn't mean he was lying to cover it up. The other point of view that I was made privy to late last night was, as the situation got more severe, his title of her took on more importance. So maybe when he thought she was just having an allergic reaction, she's my friend. Like, this is my friend. We trying to get something together. We friends. Then when it seems like, okay, this might be getting a little worse, you know, she, you know, this is my girlfriend. This is my girlfriend. But then when you sitting there and you see her with tubes down her throat, now it's, and for a person that's otherwise been characterized as quiet to himself, he will engage, but he's not, you know, it seems to be a little bit more introverted by the accounts that we're getting, but this is also by people who don't really know him. That this otherwise calm, cool, collected, don't really know him, introverted ass person goes from friend to girlfriend to, how you gonna try to tell me you care about her more? This is the mother of my child. So she went from friend to girlfriend to mother of my child. But friend was at allergic reaction. Girlfriend was at ambulance, right? She's being loaded out. She's being unloaded from an ambulance. Mother of my child is when she had tubes coming out of her. Shout out to my cousin for that one. Thank you. So I was like, okay, so maybe the level of severity of the situation was kind of poking at his heart, tugging at his heartstrings, that, hey, this woman is carrying your child, regardless of y'all shit, your baby in there. Like, maybe he remembered the good times before the impasse they came to, or before the pregnancy. I don't know, but I get it on that fact. And then I had to be reminded that it's been a time or two I had a friend or two in the hospital, and they said, oh no, only close family and friends. And immediately the next thing that came out my mouth is, I'm her sister. Which I know one of the nurses looked at me crazy because, yeah, they reminded me of that. They reminded me of that because we were ebony and ivory, okay? And so when I said, that's my sister, they looked at me. I said, we got different days. You gonna let me in here? You gonna let me back there? Now listen. So yeah, I can't. I two things were brought to my attention yesterday. The only thing about that is, like, would I lie for my best friend? I would like to think if I thought I was doing the right thing for her, then yes. But I guess the conversation we had last night, that the time to lie would not have been once she was in ICU. That was the time to say everything she could have been around, could have touched, could have ingested, could have anything. That was Now if the police would have came, we'd have been shaggy. Wasn't me, but if once she was fighting for her life, that was the time to save her life. That was the time to save her life. And now after that, y'all go and contaminate the scene. I just don't understand. I still think that woman's lying. I feel like she's saying that a police officer told her to do it because she thinks that makes it not right, but less of a crime. No. And because a police officer told you to do it, that leaves that intact crime scene, that's a no-go too. I just don't understand any police officer worth their salt inviting somebody to go in a crime scene, because a police officer would know what it's like to keep folks out of their crime scene. Why they need to. Hell, even if they didn't care as much about the case, which I highly doubt that. Nobody wants nobody in their workspace. You can't work with somebody all in the way. Moving stuff, touching stuff, and then you took something out of there and stuck it in your trunk and told folks, meet me in the parking lot. Meet me in the parking lot. So you had no intentions on telling the police. Oh, it looked like the screen was shaking some. You had no intentions on telling the police. Why? Why? And that statement that Ms. Franklin made, I wanted to do something, but I wanted to honor my friend. Honor what? What would you be honoring of your friend if at the end of the day you make it impossible for them to ever get justice for Jade? What are you honoring? Judge ain't for the shits, okay? Judge don't want no theatrics. He don't want anybody doing just ask, answer, yes or no, keep moving, go. Now, I did feel like he was being really spicy yesterday with the defense, but I do feel like his spicy was equal opportunity yesterday. DA just sounded like she was getting ready to cry with it, but his spicy was equal opportunity. That's why I said soggy diaper. You know how cranky babies get when they're wet. Just ain't nothing right. Food don't taste good. They ain't thirsty no more. They don't want to lay on you. You know what I mean? Like I think he was just over it. But unfortunately, it could come off as he's irritated with the theories of the defense, because that's when he made comments. Usually I give lawyers advice, but in this case here, I won't. So are you taking the stance that this baby would have otherwise made it had the C-section? Has she had the C-section? And it's just like, and keep making comments. I think the commentary needs to stop, because he's only making comments seemingly when it's a theory of defense around the baby, is my personal opinion. It seems like they're constantly happening at a theory of the defense, but not all theories, just the theory when it comes to the baby. Now, on the flip side, when old folks have been through a lot of things, they have some things that they say to you sometimes. When they see you going down a path that they know is going to not end well, they'll say something like, couldn't be me. You like it, I love it. Pop-Pop's favorite, you like it, I'm tickled pink. But there you go. He can't tell them how to defend their client. You don't know their case. And saying things like that in their case for folks to hear could give an impression. And that's what we're not supposed to do from the bench, right? He's not supposed to give an impression that he gives a shit one way or the other. Only that the law is to be followed, but not that he's leaning to one side or the other. And so That's where the comments come on. He need to mute his mic. 2 equals 6. Telling them they can't ask a question. I was more stuck on just the preliminary. Just preliminary. This is the one and only trial that I know of. The other thing the refusing to give a ruling, like where he won't say sustained or overruled. Like, okay, so what's the ruling? Can I have a ruling? Sit down. Like, sir, is it sustained, overruled? No, they can ask the question. So is it overruled, or are you just trying to hear what the whole question is? Like, so I wonder how that fares. Like, does he do that often? And I wonder how that fares in appeals and stuff. Who you feeling like? Let me tell y'all who I'm feeling like. Let me tell y'all how excited I am today. Listen, I'm telling y'all up front. Let me look y'all in the eye when I say this. Don't look for no recaps tonight. They will get done. But don't look for no recaps tonight, okay? They might be a little late. There's going to be a versus battle tonight between Pretty Ricky and B2K. Okay? Don't look for me. I mean, you can look for me, but don't look and don't stop me. Okay? Baby. Now, I'm not sure why B2K wants to do this. It's going to be on Versus TV. I believe they do it on Apple TV and something else. It'll be live on Instagram. Baby. I need some fun because I don't know if I told y'all last week, work broke. Everything that's supposed to be working broke. Everything is back to manual, broke. The AI broke, and then what was left of it broke again, and it's still broke. So it's back to how I used to do it, and not everybody know how to do it like that. So it caused another issue, and this is what? The last week of the month. Y'all know I work on a monthly basis. So I have been up from sun up to sundown, not today, because I was up till almost midnight last night tussling with TikTok video. So if it's a video missing, just let me know which one, because they were posting, not posting, sound, no sound. I don't know what got up last night.
Okay.
But I'm getting ready to age myself, and I'm gonna tell y'all this. Just who? The first time Pretty Ricky hit that Scream tour, and it wasn't no social media like that, baby, them parents had to have a meeting. Because, you know, everybody going to see Lil Bow Wow and Marcus Houston and B2K. You're going to see them doing their little, you know, Harlem Shake and they sea walk, right? That damn Pretty Ricky, if you win, that damn Pretty Ricky came out and they were on bed. And the only thing that you could see was them under sheet, and they was each in an individual bed hunching. Them parents ain't know what to do with them kids. Them parents came back from Cincinnati, Ohio to Columbus. Somebody, listen, no, don't take your kid there. You got to take your kid out during that part because they got some shit on that tour. Okay. That's when we found out maybe we need to go see Pretty Ricky. Okay. Baby, Pretty Ricky was being real mannish. And then you had Little Bow Wow. You just don't know the way your mouth open. Like it had little kids there. Pretty Ricky was for the chaperones and the parents. Okay. And we loved every minute of it. 2005 was a time to be alive, child. So I don't know what B2K is going to do, because what they primarily did was a little bit more kiddish at the time than what Pretty Ricky was doing. So yes, they were on the Scream tours and then into the Millennium tours together, but that was two different shows. And now everybody grown. You get what I'm saying? Now everybody grown. To get somebody else to do it. Listen, they was trying to get grown while people were still expecting them to be kids, Janae. Them parents was like, they can't go to that. Boy. My cousins was, please take us, please take us. Yeah, it dropped the same era, but it was like teens and young adults. You know what I mean? It was for the kids, and Pretty Ricky's part of the show was definitely for the parents and the chaperone. The parents was pissed. They had woo, the parents was pissed. They gonna do a couple. They gonna have a couple. They have a couple answers, friend. They gonna have a couple answers, and they gotta do something. Like you gotta bring in Bow Wow or something to do my. That's like give a little scream for nostalgia. You know, bring a couple people out. B5 and B2K. Okay.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good morning, Sergeant Benning. Can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Certainly, it's Colin, Colin, Feeney, Feeney.
And where are
Mr.
you
Feeney, is that
I'm
you?
currently on an injury on duty pension. Had a few shoulder surgeries. I should be returning to work soon, though.
Okay, and where does that work?
The Metro Nashville Police Department.
How long have you been with Metro Nashville Police Department?
15 years.
And what was your assignment prior to going on leave?
I was a overnight supervisor for the Hermitage Sea Detail Patrol Shift.
Okay, and can you walk the jury through a little bit of your background with Metro Nashville Police Department?
Certainly, I spent 10 years as an officer before I got promoted. Some of that time was spent on a flex team in South Nashville on midnights. And then I went to a burglary unit for about 5 years where we investigated residential burglaries. And then I
No, I
got
think
promoted
it's a $250 million
to sergeant. And as a sergeant, I was on the
was it
sea detail shift
250?
of
Yeah,
Hermitage.
I think it was.
And were you
Had a
on
couple
duty
million
on
dollar
February
bond.
27th of 23?
I was.
Okay, in what capacity were you working on that day?
I was the senior sergeant working, so I was the acting lieutenant for the evening.
Okay, were you on C detail?
I was.
And what are the hours for C detail?
9 to 7:30.
7:30 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
What?
And on the 27th, can you walk the jury through what
Maybe
you
it was
did when you
2.5.
initially
I'm sorry,
began?
Hannah. It could have been.
Certainly, when I came in, I had a message from the
Let me
previous
finish my
shift that we had request to speak with the supervisor from the homicide division. I
Was
made
it
the phone call to the number
2.5?
provided. It was
Yeah.
at the time Sergeant Chris Dickerson. He has
Millions.
been promoted a few times. He advised me that they had an individual in the hospital and they need to execute a search warrant at her residence off of Lebanon Road near Spence Lane, and was asking for assistance from patrol. So we had marked patrol cars and uniformed officers present. I immediately sent 2 patrol officers to the scene, and I advised them to wait until supervisors arrived before they conducted any further police activities.
And on the 27th, did you respond to 1522 Lebanon Pike,
I did.
apartment 107?
I did.
And is that here in Davidson County?
It is.
Okay. And would it have been customary for the domestic violence team to have already held that scene?
Yes.
Okay. and for whatever reason that was not done, but once it was determined a homicide, were you called out and did you follow protocol?
We did.
Okay, can you walk the jury through what protocol you followed once you got to that apartment?
Sent two uniformed officers to immediately secure the outside of the location, the residence in this instance. Then we waited for the homicide detectives to arrive with a signed search warrant from a judge. We require a search warrant at that point because there's no one there to give us permission to access the property. So we have to get a search warrant from a judge to legally and lawfully search it. Once we had the search warrant in hand and we had the investigators from the homicide division and our technical investigative services, or now CSI, on scene, we knocked on the door. We had after receiving no answer, we had a key to the residence. We made entry, cleared the residence, and allowed them to continue their investigation.
Okay, and we're on the 27th, were you wearing body cam?
I was. Okay.
Jenny, have you reviewed your body cam?
I have.
And have you used it?
For the jury? Have we muted it for the jury?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to mark
Sergeant Jenny's body cam with the state court exhibit number 15 and publish it for the jury, please.
Okay.
Sergeant Jenny, does this look like your body cam?
It does.
Okay. As we play it, I want you to walk the jury through what you were doing, why you were doing it, who was there, things like that.
Certainly. So the gentleman who's speaking right now is Lieutenant Gibson over the homicide division. I had also spoken with him a little bit about the situation of what was going on that evening and how we were conducting a search warrant for an ongoing investigation. He'd advised us that there was an individual that was at the hospital that that had a case that was being investigated as a homicide. We did not know the method of the homicide. All we knew is that it was a homicide investigation. The other sergeant present is Josh Hargrave, who worked with me on Hermitage Midnights, and then the two uniformed officers present are Eric Ziegler and Philip Parker.
Well, how do y'all know what
Both
y'all
of them
look?
were relatively
I don't know
new.
the method.
I gave them instructions that once we went in, that they were just simply there to help us clear the residence, make sure that there's no one inside that could be a threat to any investigators. So our primary goal at this point is this would not be considered a very hostile environment to our knowledge, but we still take the precautions necessary. So we're just going to go in and make sure that there's no one inside the building at this point. Lieutenant Gibson has a key to the residence. At this point, he is announcing inside the residence, to making our presence known that we are the Metro Nashville Police. We're here to conduct a search warrant. That way, if there is anyone inside the house, I'm documenting the time with my watch, audibly speak it into the body camera as well. At this time, we've made entry to it, and we're giving anyone that could be inside the residence, after multiple announcements that we are the police and we're there with a search warrant, to make themselves known before we enter, just in case there is someone in there. We don't run into a situation that could turn into a use of force situation or be a surprise to anyone. We want everyone to know who we are and what we are doing.
Sergeant Finney, up there at the top, is that the date and time stamp for when you were executing the search warrant?
It is.
So it's February 27th, around 2 a.m. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. So we're giving an ample amount of time to anyone inside the residence because of the time of night that it is. If there were someone, say they're in bed, giving them an opportunity to get dressed and let them know that we're coming in, and if they want to come speak with us, they can. As you see, there's no sense of urgency at this point, so we don't need to rush in there like we're going after an actual individual, because we don't believe anyone to be in the residence. Once an ample amount of time is given, we'll go into the residence. We're looking around just for anything any sort of weapons that could be present. We'll document that. We'll audibly tell the other officers that are going in there. So if we see knives in the kitchen is obviously a place that there would be weapons. We're looking through, making sure there's no one inside any of the rooms. At one point, as we're walking through here, I do observe a handgun. Again, we were not told the method of the homicide. We just knew that it was a homicide investigation. So whether or not it's evidentiary, it's good to announce that, but it's also to let the other officers inside know that there is a weapon present in a certain location. So we're just doing a very precursory search of the residence to make sure that there's not an individual in there. Our role in this is to do just that and to have uniformed officers present. So it's obvious that the police are inside. So we're going to take the precautions that we can to make sure that everyone remains safe. Once we've completed our search, that's when the homicide detectives who are in plain clothes and our CSI unit comes in and does their investigation. So once we've completed the search, I instructed the two officers present to stay on the outside of the perimeter and just limit who has access to and from the apartment. Make sure that it's someone that has business being in there with law enforcement or law enforcement adjacent with our crime scene detectives, because not all of them are sworn personnel. So you can see we searched the residence. We didn't find anyone inside. So we're turning the scene over to Lieutenant Gibson of the homicide unit at this point.
Sorry, Lieutenant, you did not collect any evidence, is that correct?
I did not.
Okay, can you walk the jury through how you would collect evidence when you're executing a search warrant, what precautions you take, things like that?
So anything that we're going to touch, we're going to want to have gloves on, first of all, to rule out any DNA that could be left by the officers that are responding. And in this situation, we're not collecting any evidence because there's no one inside. It's a secure scene, and we can hand that over to our CSI unit to do all the evidence collection. But depending on what kind of evidence it depends on how it's packaged, and we'll leave that to those guys since they process it in the lab as well.
Okay, do you photograph anything and document it if you were to collect evidence?
We would.
Okay, if you'll give me 1 minute.
Are those my questions?
Thank you. Sergeant Feeney, did I understand you say you did see a gun in the apartment?
Yes.
And where was that?
I believe it was in the bedroom,
Do you know where in the bedroom?
maybe next to the nightstand. I don't recall.
So on the body camera with audio on it, can you hear you announcing that there's a gun?
Yes.
Is that something that other officers note also?
I would imagine they took a mental note of it, but I can't tell you what exactly they did.
So you're the only officer on the audio of that body cam that says something about the gun?
Yes, because I was the only officer that went into the room when I was clearing it that saw it.
Okay, so you're the only officer that goes in the room and notes the gun.
At that point in the search warrant, yes.
And that's actually on the audio of the body cam.
Correct.
Which we can't hear on this one.
Correct.
Were you present for the rest of the search of the apartment?
I was not inside, no.
Where were you positioned for the rest of the search?
Out in the parking lot.
What was your role during the rest of the search?
I still had to supervise a patrol shift, so the rest of the search, I was outside. I had nothing to do with the interior of the residence.
Did you leave before it was completed?
I did.
So you were essentially assigned to the entry team, and then once that was done, your duties were completed.
Yes, I left the two uniformed patrol officers on the scene. So if the plainclothes officers and the investigators needed any assistance from a marked uniformed patrol, that they would be present. But I also instructed them that if they had to do anything else to notify me.
So you were available if they needed help.
Yes.
But your recollection is there was no help needed for the rest of the search.
Correct. We had 94 square miles of coverage that we're responsible for. So I can't sit on one scene all night.
And
Well, okay.
this seems like an obvious question, but of
Mhm.
course, your body cam doesn't show the rest of the search.
Correct.
Are you aware if there is any body cam that shows the rest of the search?
I am not.
Are you aware if there is policy related to body cam footage during the search of an apartment?
At that time, there was none.
There was no policy or there is no body cam?
At that time, there was no policy that required you to keep a body camera on while you're conducting a search for residence. Typically, your crime scene investigators do all of that with a digital camera.
Okay, that might record the actual.
Yes, but as to whether or not that exists, that's not in my scope of the investigation. That's not my role.
Are you aware if there's currently a policy related to body cams during searches?
I'm not up to date on our current policy. I've been on IOD for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So
You're probably ready to get back, huh?
should be starting back soon. So
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
Were you provided any information and related to sort of what the nature of this entry was or this search was related to before starting the search?
I was given information by the homicide unit that this was something that should have been done the previous day by the domestic violence division, and they failed to do so. So now they were having to come in later than they would have liked to conduct the search warrant, which is why I instructed my 2 officers who are relatively new to not touch anything and not get overly involved, because this would be going to trial in a few years. It was less than ideal circumstances for them.
What part of it was less than ideal?
Well, when you're a new officer and you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know what you need to be looking for, you don't know what you need to announce, you don't know what you need to pay attention for, because whether or not you can recall something, 3, 4, 5 years later, is when you're brand new, those are things that you don't understand what to look for and what to do. So that's why I made sure that myself and another sergeant came out and were present at the execution of the search warrant.
You're a very experienced officer.
Mhm.
Why was it that it was your understanding that this search should have been done the day before?
I can't speak to why the domestic violence division failed to follow policy and protocol.
Oh,
But I
God.
just know that they did, but I can't speak for the actions of another person.
You had indicated, I think on direct, that something about that scene not being secured. Did you have some understanding related to that?
It was locked when we got there. We were there to secure the scene with our 2 officers present. That as far as the outside of the perimeter being secured, it's an apartment complex. It was, as soon as we were made aware of it, we sent 2 officers there to make sure that no one entered or exited the residence. So, but from the time that we sent 2 officers there to whenever the incident originally occurred, I can't speak.
Did you have information about whether anybody else had actually been to the apartment?
No, not at that time.
You didn't actually have that.
No, not at that time.
Did you have any information about whether anything had been removed from the apartment?
Not at all. Like I said, we were given very limited information. And
This is one of those things where you get it out there before they
would
bring it
prefer
up.
to have kept it that way.
Maybe they
So
learned their lesson.
I could tell that there
Else,
was
just
an
put it
issue
out there.
somewhere,
It
and
is what it is.
I would let them work that out amongst themselves.
Just put it out
Generally, the
there.
information was that this
Because
should
it would sound way worse if the defense
Correct.
was the ones that put it out there.
Yes, sir.
Kathy, that's called family and multitasking and helping each other through work.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, would you please state and spell your name?
Jason Terry, Jason Terry.
And Mr. Terry, what is the current state of your employment?
I'm a retired Metro Nashville police officer.
And when did you enter into the retirement stage?
Approximately 3 years ago, it'll be 3 years in July.
What was Terry's last?
How long were you with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department?
23 years.
And that me doing the math, when did you start?
I started in 2000.
When you started in 2000, what were your duties, responsibilities with the police department?
I initially started out as we all do. I worked patrol for approximately 5 years before becoming a detective in the sex crimes unit. I was there 4.5 years before transferring to the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force.
Laura, I
From
think
there, I was a detective in the auto theft unit for almost 5
That's
years
good.
before completing
saying
my last almost 6 years in the crime scene unit.
that's right there. That's what we waiting on. So I'm waiting to see.
And in February of 2023,
Hey,
what
Six
branch
Buckeye.
of the police department or what unit were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the crime scene unit.
And how long would that have been that you had been in the crime scene unit at that time?
At that time, about 5.5 years.
During those 5.5 years, had you responded to few or many crime scenes?
Quite a few.
Now, what does the crime scene unit do?
What we do is when we get called to a scene, and here in Nashville, most everything we can, if we're requested, will come out unless we find a reason not to. But generally what we do, we'll come out, we'll assist detectives or patrolmen, help identify possible evidence that we'll then document the evidence. We'll collect it and then help preserve it by the way we package it and by the way we take it down to our property room for storage.
And to work in the crime scene unit or CSI unit of the police department, do you undergo any specialized training?
Yes, initially the training is for the ones like me that were sworn officers. We have both sworn and civilian crime scene technicians. With the sworn officers, it's pretty much initially on the job training because we have to have a minimum 3 years of service before we can even apply. But once we're in there, we get sent to the National Forensics Academy, which is a 10-week intensive course in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. It's held by the University of Tennessee. There's 10 weeks of crime scene investigation training, everything from different ways of fingerprinting to evidence collection to photography. We also are required, I believe it's within 2 years of being assigned to the crime scene unit, we have to become certified by the International Association of Identification. We are tested, we have to apply, and we have to pass in order to be certified as crime scene technicians.
And did you accomplish all that?
I did, yes.
Now, as part of that, are there certain protocols, rules, for lack of a better term, that you would follow in entering and processing a crime scene?
There are. It's dependent on the scene, but there are some protocols. We have certain standard operating procedures depending on what kind of scene it is, things we do.
Now, do you as a crime scene investigator always know the facts of what caused it to be a crime scene?
We do not. Generally, we depend a lot on the information the detectives give us. Unlike what you might see on television shows, we're not the ones sitting down interviewing witnesses and victims and suspects. And we get our information from the detective. We go through the scene. Now, as we do that, we're still open-minded. If we see something can be helpful. But at the end, that scene belongs to that detective. We're there to assist, and we're more supplemental.
And are there some crime scenes that you respond to where it's obvious that an item might have evidentiary value?
Yes, it is.
A shooting scene and there's a weapon.
Yes, sir.
Might be something to collect, correct?
Yes, sir.
On the other hand, responding to the shooting scene, there may be an item that's totally irrelevant.
Quite a bit, yes, sir.
And would you collect something that you've already realized is totally irrelevant to that crime scene?
No.
And is that a judgment call that you make in consultation with the lead detective?
Right. Generally, the way it goes, the detective, since they've done the talking to everybody involved, there's a search warrant involved. They're the ones that developed enough probable cause for the search warrant. They know all the context of what's going on. I get called in code for a scene, help identify certain things. They help put that, whatever you see, into possible context.
Now, as a crime scene investigator in 2023, were you wearing body-worn camera?
We were assigned them because, like I said, we're a sworn officer, but the basic function of a body-worn camera is your interaction with the public. So we weren't required on scenes or in that because we dealt with officers 99% of the time. So we had body-worn cameras, but we weren't required to have them on at a scene because we weren't interacting with the public.
And therefore, you be filming, you're collecting evidence or packaging it, or
No,
doing anything like that.
we would not.
However, when you do go to a crime scene, is it recorded in another method? Photographs.
Yeah, that's one of the means we document it. There's several different tools we can use, but the one in almost every crime scene I've ever worked, we photograph the scene. That's our main way we document a scene for future reference.
And when you go to a crime scene,
Y'all see how they slipped that in there? Y'all see how they slipped that in there? Y'all think that this? I think the state is going to try something with that. And if we didn't catch it, Mr. Retired here is saying that the body cams are only required when dealing with the public. So when they're at a scene, when they're collecting things, they are not required to have their body cam on when collecting. Y'all know what the state's getting ready to do with that. So it wasn't that bad when Mrs. Franklin didn't record collecting it because it probably wouldn't have been recorded anyway. They about to try it. I bet they are.
other officers normally be there.
Too bad Miss Franklin
Yes.
got dang on cop.
And as the crime scene investigator, do you have a protocol or standard operating procedure of how you view and assess the scene on a step-by-step process?
Everybody, it probably varies slightly, but yes, I had my own unique process. Like the way I'd write my reports, I'd speak with the detectives, see what they had, see what they required of me. I would then usually maybe walk the scene with them or go through the scene and initially take photographs because that's how the scene was when I arrived. And then after that, I would go back through, depending on what kind of scene it was, and collect any evidence that was observed.
Now, are you initially the one who would enter the apartment or the scene first?
No.
When you were working as a crime scene investigator, Metropolitan Nashville Police
I ain't
Department,
with you, Terry. I ain't
February
saying
of
this ain't gonna eat their ass up. I say they gonna try it.
you were requested to come to a location at 1522 Lebanon Pike, apartment 107.
I was.
And you recall approximately when and where you were when you received the request?
When I received the initial request, I was on a separate, as a death scene in South Nashville. Because I wasn't off that scene yet, we were running short that night. I believe I talked with Sergeant Chris Dickerson from the homicide unit who was requesting us. Spoke with him just about what they had, what they were needing from us, because if it meant we needed certain equipment that we use, which is only kept at the office, I would have to go from South Nashville to Madison, where our office was, and then go back to Hermitage or there on Lebanon Pike address.
And referencing crime scenes, does the nature of the crime scene and or the request for assistance determine on how many crime scene investigators might go?
It can. There are certain specific crime scenes which require a supervisor, even if they're not working, we have to page them out. It's always, I work the midnight shift, 10:30 at night to 7 in the morning. And if you had one of those types of crime scenes, say an officer involved shooting, aggravated assault on an officer, a homicide, which was known to be a homicide at that time, we'd have to do the certain protocols we have, and you would have more than one, hopefully, that would come out because there's several different things that you would do more administratively with regards to that scene.
And because of the nature of this incident and call, how many individuals from the crime scene unit responded?
One, me.
And when you left the other South Nashville scene, was there still work going on that?
I don't recall. I believe usually when it's a death scene, non-suspicious death, once the medical examiner who usually calls us out there, I'll clear with them. You don't need anything else from me. Once they say they don't need anything else, I'll leave.
And did you go directly from that scene to the
I did.
Newman Road?
I did.
And you recall approximately what time you arrived at 1522 Lebanon Pike?
I believe I originally had the call at 1:35 in the morning, and I arrived there a little after 2 a.m.
And were you familiar with that location?
Oh.
Have you been there previously?
Familiar with the location, and I'd actually grown up probably less than 1/10 of a mile down the road from that location.
So when you arrived, describe what you observed with respect to law enforcement presence.
Right. There was multiple law enforcement there, police, different bosses within the homicide unit were there. I said the main point of contact I had was with Chris Dickerson. I arrived on the scene. They identified, Detective Reese has been the lead detective. Initial thing I'll do, I'll get out and immediately write down on what we call an ID work form. It just denotes the date, time. It's usually the initial photograph you will take in the series of photographs for that scene. I fill that out, and before I even get in, I meet with Detective Reese meets me, take possession of a comforter and a washcloth that were in a double bag trash bag. Note the date and time that I accepted that property, placed it in my van and secured it. Then I'll go on into the scene. Once I go into the scene, there's several detectives in the scene. I talk to them, find out again, confirm what exactly they need from me. What exact steps are they looking for? In this case, it was to collect certain items that they identified and to photograph the apartment, which is what I did.
Now, ask more about this perhaps later on, get to the actual physical items, but with respect to receiving that comforter in the plastic trash bag,
Mm-hmm.
where did that transfer from Detective Reese to you take place?
It was in the parking lot before I walked in.
And was Detective Reese therefore already out in the parking lot with the bag?
It was, yes.
And Lee, you said you took it and secured it,
Yeah, I did.
and did you have a vehicle crime scene investigation?
I did. It was a marked Metro Police Department suicide crime scene van. I think they were Chevy 1500s.
And did the item or items remain in the vehicle, locked in the vehicle while you processed the apartment?
Yes.
No. What did you do initially upon going to apartment 107?
Initially, like I do always, I go in, confirm the information from the detectives in there, what they wanted from me. They pointed out the items that they wanted collected. I then took the camera and began my process of photographing the apartment as requested. And usually I'll start right through the front door and just try to tell a story, taking photographs of the entire scene and walking through, taking overall photos, generally at first, and then going back through and taking mid-range and close-up photographs of whatever evidence there is. But that's my initial step, is to photograph the scene as I find it.
Had you ever been inside apartment 107 prior to that early morning hour?
No, sir.
And upon stepping across the threshold or looking in,
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Oh, Lord, stand by. You're supposed to get in trouble for messing with a crime scene. And to be honest, I feel like they should definitely get in trouble, especially if they really feel like Blaise is the one that did it, but a jury says, hey, I can't trust that crime scene. Everybody, I'll be putting cases on everybody.
Mr. Terry, have you reviewed, have you looked to see those before?
Yes, these were the photographs I took that night.
Our paper request they be introduced as an external exhibit, request is published in the journal.
Okay.
Gary, you referenced a few minutes ago about there being, the first photograph would be usually the work order. Is that what we're seeing here?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And what is the information contained on that document?
What it contains is the date and the time the series of photographs begins, the complaint number for that particular incident that I'm out on, what type of call, the 10 code for that victim. I didn't have the Ms. Benning's information at that time, so UAT means unknown. The address where we're at, the scene, and who requested us, along with my name.
Now, with respect to the complaint number, I'm sure you may have heard a little about that before, but is that a unique identifying number?
It is. A complaint number is specific to each individual incident that the police department gets called to, or they do a report on, or most everything they have to do with. The 23 just denotes the year, and the rest of it, like in this case, 120532, it's the 120,000 plus complaint number issued so far that year.
And what, if any, significance does that have with respect to your work as a crime scene investigator and the collection of evidence?
Everything I do, all the paperwork I submit, including the evidence that I collect, it's all packaged and stored at the property room under that complaint number. All the paperwork is associated with that complaint number.
And I believe you said earlier that one of the things you do is to speak with the detectives to have an idea of what might be relevant in the nature of the call. Is that correct?
That's correct, and that's definitely the complaint number. We always want to make sure we're on the same page, the complaint number they have, because everything they do gets tied into that complaint number too. Just make sure we have the same complaint number.
And based on getting that information, were there items that you were looking for based upon what the detectives had advised you?
Yeah, correct, yes.
And on the next photograph, what are we seeing here?
This is just the initial external photograph of where Ms. Denning left the building. Just a close-up of the sign denoting the building and what apartments are in that building.
And if we're standing looking at that 1540 in the apartment, where would the person be who is taking that photograph?
Outside.
As the parking lot?
Yes, correct. It's just a close up, still outside of the apartment number.
Now, do you recall it was 107 on the first or second?
It'd be on the first level, first floor. Just a photograph of the external door going into the apartment 107.
I think we've already covered this, but was the door open or closed when you first walked up to it?
When I walked up to it, it was unlocked. Yes.
Okay. And so did you pull it back to take this photograph?
That I don't recall if the door was propped open. I believe it was shut when I first arrived and took the photograph. I don't recall.
And the reason I ask that is once you entered, were there officers inside as you were taking your photographs?
There were, I think a couple of homicide unit detectives were in there.
Right, now, moving on to the next photograph. What are we seeing and where are we in the apartment?
Yeah, this is immediately as you come in the door. The first photograph captures part of the kitchen because the apartment, the way it's set up, you walk directly into the kitchen, the door. So that's the first photograph I take, as if you're walking into the door, this is what I see. Again, it's a little better flash. Just kind of working my way around the room. Same location, just shifted a little bit more to the right.
And with respect to the counter or the island area there, were there items of interest to you?
There were, yes.
And what were those?
The items of interest that had been identified to me by the homicide unit were the two bottles, the Minute Maid and the V8 splash bottle there in middle. This glass, which was half filled with clear liquid, and this glass, which was empty.
With respect to where that Minute Maid and the other bottle had been before you entered, were you aware of where they were located?
I was advised that those bottles had been placed on the counter by the homicide unit who had removed them from the refrigerator.
Clear. Not good.
Yep.
And we'll go to the
This is just a photograph of the island at the center of everything.
And when I asked a few minutes ago if there were homicide detectives inside
Yes.
while you were working,
There's one of them there to the right.
at that time, based on the information you had, did the paintings, like a better term there on the island, have any significance to you?
No.
Did you consider them to be evidentiary matters to be collected?
Not from the information I had at that time, or just from looking at it, I didn't see anything of value.
Move on. And in this, again, as you're saying, you're panning or taking views from different angles, is that correct?
Yeah, it's just where I stand in the same spot initially, and I'll just kind of slice the room up like a pie and just go around from one corner to the other corner.
And you made pie, that might have said the word pie, that made me think, did you see any food?
There was on top of the stove and the pan, there were cookies, baked cookies.
Did you notice any security camera surveillance inside the apartment? I would direct your attention to where Detective Mathis.
Yeah, I had to think that for the second. Just, right there in the corner, right there. Right next to Detective Mathis's right elbow.
Could you circle that?
Sure.
Did that appear to be activated or?
No, from what I recall, no.
Reference the cookies?
Yes.
Are they in this photograph? If you could circle. them.
Sure.
And to the right of the cookies, did that also appear to be food items?
It did. I don't recall looking inside. They're right there, the Tupperware containers.
And again, with the same sort of question, did those have any evidentiary value with respect to anything that you knew about this case?
No, sir.
And close-up view of what previously looked at, is that correct?
That's correct.
You recall whether there were any dirty dishes in the sink or?
I don't recall any, no.
And again, more of a close-up of what we've already discussed, is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, in looking at the cookies, does there appear to be one missing?
Appears to be two missing.
Two. And where is this? And is this still Detective Mathis in the background?
It is. This just shows just down from there, the position of where the trash can was in relation to the rest of the kitchen. It just shows a more complete photograph of the kitchen. Photograph of the kitchen island just from the opposite side. Close up of the glass that was identified to me by the homicide unit and the clear liquid inside.
And was that one of the items that were later collected?
It was, yes. This photograph of the Minute Maid bottle and the V8 splash bottle, again, that had been identified by the homicide unit as things they wish collected. Close up of those same two bottles. That's a close up of the empty drinking glass that was also identified by the homicide unit as something they wanted collected.
Other than what we're seeing here on the island, do you recall whether there were any other drinking glasses on any other counter or elsewhere?
I'm sure there was. I don't recall seeing any that homicide believed warranted my attention, or I didn't see any that had any liquids in it or looked to be recently used. Just a close up of the same glass.
Now, to the left of the, as we're looking at it,
Mhm.
glass, does there appear to be a piece of paper?
Right there, it looks like it's instructions for the card game Uno. It's just an overall shot of the living room area. This is a shot from the living room, looking into the bedroom.
Do you recall how many bedrooms there were in this apartment?
There's two bed, two bath.
And which one are we looking into now?
It's the only one that had a bed in it. I assume that was Miss Denning's room. It's the one, if you're facing, it's on the right of the living room if you're facing the living room. This was the initial view. As you walk through the door, you're right in the door frame of the bedroom. And again, like before, this is to my immediate left, and I will rotate around with the photographs, just basically corner to corner.
And with respect to the lines, were they in that condition as in being pulled down and closed when you entered?
Yes, what you're seeing in these photographs is how it was when I first witnessed it, when I first saw it. Again, just the opposite corner, some part of the bed and the window.
These pictures are just basically him documenting the scene. They're not really telling anything, but then, before they come in and collect evidence, they take pictures of everything so they can later tell the story of what was there or what wasn't. But this is showing mainly for me, good morning. This is showing mainly for me that they definitely was in that scene touching shit, because as you can see in the bedroom, the blinds are down. We saw in those kitchen pictures, the camera is back under the that little sign or decorative sign. What happened to, there you go. What happened to the liquid in there? Like, remember yesterday, best friend, whether she was lying or not, said that the liquid, there was no reason for her to get the drink. They said, bless you, Denver. They said, there was no reason for her to do anything with the cup because there was no liquid in it. So we don't know what happened to the liquid. We don't know if something happened to the liquid while Lauren was in there. We don't know if something happened when the Scooby and the gang came back. What we do know is that we see the evidence or the confirmation of Scooby-Doo and the gang having moved things, because the camera's no longer in the bedroom. The glass is over to the side. So this is just documenting the scene, all of it. This is not any like real specifics, but then we'll figure out, or we'll know what he collected and why. Lauren said, I don't know who initially told Lauren the candle was lit. She claimed yesterday that her point of view, that's a good one to look for in the pictures. They claimed that her point of view, she could see the candle burning from the kitchen. So there we go. Let's see. Is that a vantage point that you can actually see? Let's see.
Again, just rotating around a shot of the bed. Rotating around to the opposite corner and showing the door to the walk-in closet.
With respect to the glass, the drinking utensil there on the end table, did that have any significance?
No.
And in fact, did you collect anything from the bedroom?
No, the only thing I collected was there on the island.
That doorway was kind of narrow too.
Homicide instructed in what they wanted.
What's that over? Where could she have seen through?
I asked before we leave the nightstand.
And we see that
area of the bedroom. Did you see a weapon?
There is one. This shot doesn't show it. I think one of the shots, me coming out of the closet, will show it, but there is one.
And where was it?
Like I said, you can't see it, but you'll see it in a different photograph. It's right in there. It's a pistol in the holster. You'll see the top end of it.
I believe we will, as you say, get to it in a moment.
Yes, I think it's the series after I photograph in the closet, turn back around and take more photographs. It's just the door to the walk-in closet. Just from the door, a view of the walk-in closet.
And did you, like a better term, search that to any extent?
I visually searched it. No, I visually searched it, looked through it. Again, the homicide unit detectives were the one executing the search warrant and it signed off. So.
And were you directed to collect anything from there?
No, sir. It's just the closet floor. Just working my way up to the what's on the hangers in the closet and the tops of the closet. It's just me coming back out of the closet facing the bedroom. And again, just a photograph of the nightstand.
And
Should be the next one.
yes.
And there's just an overall of the nightstand and what's around, and just what we was talking about earlier.
Did you, excuse me, circle that? Did that have any evidentiary value as far as you were concerned?
No, it wasn't a shooting scene. There was no allegation of anyone had been shot or any gun had been used. Someone's private weapon, didn't make any sense. There was no reason to collect it.
Was anything illegal about it?
No.
Now, the item, see an item, is it in the photograph down,
Mhm.
white straps?
Mm-hmm.
What was that, you know?
I believe it was a Apple, or is an Apple Watch or an Apple S type watch.
And again, at that time, based upon information, did it have any evidentiary value as far as being collected?
No, nothing was said to me, no.
Now, the bottle with the yellow top,
Mm-hmm.
you recall what that was?
It was a supplement. I don't remember exactly what the supplement was off the top of my head.
And the item to the right of the yellow top bottle,
Looks to be a candle next to a half-eaten package of peanut butter M&Ms, a Sharpie pen, and an adapter.
and now you.
That's the candle.
The closet, correct?
Correct. Again, just a different series of photographs there, just from a different angle. Again, that was at the door, bedroom door facing out. Just to the left before you walk out, there's a door on the left. Was the bathroom in the bedroom. That's what this is.
Recall how many bathrooms there were?
2.
So this is the one off the,
One off the, what they would call the master bedroom. Yes. Just there's
Ain't
a
no
walk to the door, just a
way
photograph of
him
the
candle
tub,
all the way
and
at the front of the
photographs
house.
bathroom.
and appeared to be anything out of the ordinary in the bathroom.
No, not at all. Again, just same series, just different angle. Same bathroom, different angle.
Yes. Mr. Terry, when Detective Reese gave you the plastic bag
Mm-hmm.
comforter, did you open it up and look at it
I did.
right then?
Yes.
Okay. And what, if anything, was within the white bags, trash bags?
It was a blue comforter and a yellow washcloth.
I'll say, did you, in looking through the apartment, see anything similar to the washcloth that was in the bag?
Yeah, it looked similar to those up there.
Move on.
Just close up of the sink in that same bathroom.
Did anything strike you as being unusual or
No, just
evidence?
it's spotless, but very clean. That's the only thing. This is from the door of the Miss Denning's bedroom facing the other bedroom through the living room. Just the other bedroom from the door looking in. Again, just rotating around the room. This is a corner of that same room. Again, just rotating to the right, different, covers the right corner of the room.
Did you go through any of the, like that hamper or look at the magazines there?
Just cursory glance. I know that one had something to do with pregnancy and becoming pregnant.
Was there a, you may have already answered this or said this, but was there a bed in that second bedroom?
No, there was not. 2 chairs, like some baby clothes in the opposite, which we'll see here in a second.
And are we still in that second bedroom?
Damn.
Now, I think we skipped some photographs there. Because this is facing the bedroom from inside the walk-in closet attached to the second bedroom.
So did you spend any great significant amount of time in that second?
Yeah, photographed it from a couple of different angles, yes. There we go. Photograph from inside the closet or from the door leading into the attached walk-in closet.
Let's go back there for a second. Did you see in that bedroom or that closet any items that would be associated with a baby?
Oh, yes. You have a couple of baby odors. I think that was a walker. When you'll see on additional photographs over here on the side, you're going to show some boxes with, I think, with diapers and some formula.
It's just the
The bathroom attached to the second bedroom and the second walk-in closet. Same, just a toilet, counter. The walk-in closet, again, just showing what's on the top shelf.
I believe you reference Pampers or those.
Yeah, there's some Pampers over here. It shows the far corner from the bedroom looking into the walk-in closet. This was on that shelf that I just took. You got some wipes, some formula, diapers, different items relating to child care, infant care. Again, just some items on the floor. Looks like something else from Pampers down in the box below. This was the walk-in closet from the bathroom facing back into the bedroom. That same corner just shows what's on the shelf and what shows below. It's like that was a walker / car seat for an infant. Just more of a close-up view of those same two walkers and baby carrier seat.
Did you look in any of those tubs or the ice chest?
I did not know.
That's all. So, finish the photography part.
Yes, sir.
What comes next?
What comes next is
Nothing
to
about
do the evidence
Oh,
collection.
nothing.
And are there any procedures or protocols that you adhere to in collecting items of evidence?
Yeah, you always want to take whatever precautions you can, such as wearing protective gloves, making sure they're separated, having whatever mode you're putting it in. In our case, depending on what it is, it's usually a paper sack. So have that available.
And did you follow that process and procedure in this case?
I did. This was a little unique in that you had fluids. Normally, when it comes to any kind of fluids, we'll just do a swab of it. In this case, I thought it was more important to get a larger sample of it. So the clear liquid in the drinking glass, I put like in a little plastic vial that we have. That's specific for liquid collections. I did that, then I collected everything else as a whole, but I mean, it was in separate bags. You denote the time and the date that you actually take possession of it, that you take custody of it. You make sure that's marked down also.
And is that actually placed on the bag or the
It-
whatever the evidence is placed in?
It is, along with the complaint number, where it was obtained from, what exactly is in that individual sack, and date time.
Council has seen these items before, but I can bring the box over if I want to look again. Okay, thank you. I apologize if this may take take a minute, but if I could have these items passed up to Terry on your time. And actually, let me pull it over here. This way I can't show you which one. Particular order. Now, if I could ask this, I don't, maybe we'll better here anyway. Mr. Terry, you're being handed
Thank you.
item package, a paper bag. Can you look at that and tell us about the markings and identification, whether or not you recognize that?
Yes, this was the packaging for clear drinking glass, and I have it denoted on the bottom inside the box. That wasn't recovered at the scene. That was just the means of safely packaging it within here to make sure it didn't break.
So it was a glass glass.
Yes, yes, sir.
Governor, I would ask that be introduced as the next number exhibit.
So, this is the glass that previously held the liquid. The reason I know that is because I put that on the bag just to differentiate the other one that was empty when we found it. One thing I didn't talk about earlier is the way we know is, again, complaint number, type of column out on, the address where it's recovered, date, time it's recovered, and exactly what's inside the box. This tape is done by the lab, so is that. The initial tape is called integrity tape to make sure no one has opened this. After I sealed it, the way you know that is from the integrity tape, plus I put my initials and the date that I sealed this.
Governor, would that be exhibit 18?
This looks to be the Minute Maid pink lemonade bottle, which at this point was empty, and the V8 Splash fruit medley bottle that are in here, and they would have been put in separate sacks within this sack.
If we cover something that has liquids in it,
Mhm.
what is done with?
The liquid, it's once it's packaged like everything else, packaged and put in the property room, because the detective decide what testing is needed, what they want to be looked for. Because this is, at the time, we didn't know exactly, or I wasn't aware what drug or if a drug had been involved. It's packaged in the way that we would normally package any type of drug, which is in a clear bag, and it's double bagged for safety.
Leave it as would be used. Yes, these three, and do them individually, but safety. Mr. Terry, you're being handed three packages. I want to deal with them individually.
Sure.
So necessary sequence with, would you take a look at those and see if you recognize?
Yes, these are the vials of the various liquids that I recovered.
Let's start with the one in your left hand.
Sure.
What does that contain?
This is a sample of the liquid from the water glass, the clear liquid from the water glass.
All right, ask that be produced as exhibit 20. Okay. Now, we can go ahead and get it, just so they don't get. And the next one.
This is the sample I collected from the V8 splash bottle.
Does it contain the appropriate markings and identification?
It does, like the other bags. These bags are specific where they were basically to open one of these, you basically have to disintegrate it. I mean, it rips open. It's not a clean rip. So when we seal it, we still put our initials on the back just to show that when it was sealed.
All right, ask that be produced as exhibit 21.
Okay.
And then the third.
Third one is a sample of the liquid collected from the Minute Maid bottle.
Same identification, same complaint number.
Same identification, same complaint number, same information. My name's on it. It's definitely my handwriting and initials on the back.
Okay. Now, talk about the item you received from Detective Reese.
Yes.
Did you process that, or you said you looked at it, saw like a comforter and a washcloth? Did you process it with respect to packaging, repackaging there at the scene?
At the scene, no. It was transported as is to our office, CSI office on Mott Drive in Madison.
And what, if anything, did you do with those items there?
With those items, we call them drying cabinets. They're just the big cabinets that you put things in that has air that circulates around, that helps dry wet items. Because from my understanding, there had been substance on the comforter, placed it inside the drying cabinet to ensure it was dry, because if you turn in articles of cloth or most anything and you package it wet, it can mildew and mold over time, which can compromise and contaminate evidence.
And with respect to the trash bags,
Those are packaged separately. They came with the comforter and are packaged separately.
I can ask this item. The extra witness.
This contained the yellow washcloth and the white trash bags, and they were packaged in here separately. So it's not everything's free flowing, contacting each other. They're packaged separately within this one package.
All right, ask that be introduced. Page 23.
Yeah, because why bring up Keith's situation in Ohio unless there's more to it?
This item. From our approach one. Okay. Okay. Now, does the big box have anything really to do with it other than?
No, the big box doesn't. Inside is the bag. We have gloves. I'll pick it up, pull it out. I don't have any.
You wanting to?
You need me to
Well, I
lift
think
it
the
up?
paper bag, not, but I'm gonna ask you to open it and get down to the actual comforter.
You want gloves for the.
Yes, sir. So it's like I lift it out.
What is the significance of any of the red?
The red, these bags are used to package things which might contain a biohazard, blood, semen, anything, any bodily type fluid or anything of an unknown. That's what that's for, because they're labeled on here, biohazard on that side. This is the bag and where we place the comforter for packaging. Just do that side.
Real quick before they get to this comforter here, Breaking news. Attorneys representing Jason Meade have filed a motion to delay his sentencing even further, as they say or feel that the special prosecutors are preparing to file a motion to retry this former deputy for the murder of Casey Goodson Jr. Franklin County is going back after Jason Meade for that murder, and they're not waiting. So he's trying to delay his sentencing. Why you want to delay the sentencing? Because now your ass sitting in jail, right? I don't know why they're trying to delay the sentencing, but it seems like his attorneys suspect that the special prosecutors is coming right back for his ass. Okay, just popped up on the news in Ohio. Had to let y'all know.
On here is the same information as the other bags: complaint number, type of call, location, date, time collected, and what's exactly in here.
We were supposed to watch
Also have the
the
complaint
sentencing
number written
first.
on there. No, we can't see it on here. My name is on the integrity tape and initialed also.
Janae definitely didn't expect that shit from Franklin County. I thought they was going to tell, okay, y'all got something, go on about your business now.
And council has no objections that the outside box has no relevance, but might leave it in that for the sake of. Thank you. First. Court's permission passed, that this small photographs be passed. All right. Sure, you can just take a look at those and see if those correspond to the markings and labels on the comforter and trash bag exhibit, which you previously discussed.
It is.
Or if I could just,
You need to hard copy.
yes, just to put these on, if I could publish these briefly. So what is this photograph of?
It's a photograph of that same bag I just showed you, containing the blue comforter.
Of the markings on the bag?
Yes.
And this,
Yeah, that's just something placed on there by our property room. Basically, the information provided on here is the same thing that I place on the, that entered into the property sheet that accompanies the property.
Can I ask you about that? The property room, you talked about a drying cabinet at the Myatt Drive,
Mhm.
your office.
Yes.
What is and where is the property room?
Property is behind the East Precinct off Trinity Lane, huge building behind there.
And is it what it?
It is what it says. It's not manned 24 hours, and on our shift, working midnight, they have an officer's, what they call an officer's workroom that contains various and numerous lockers of various sizes that we can store the recovered property in and lock it up, and they're the only ones that have keys to the locks.
And is the property then remain there until it's needed, either to be sent for examination or court?
Yes, that is where it stays.
It's just a photograph again, the labeling
Mhm.
of the comforter. And does that show the date and time you received it from Detective Reese?
Yes, that's worded the exact same as I listed this item, the blue comforter on my property sheet.
And the rest of the outside and the trash bag that previously been introduced, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And here you can see perhaps a little
Yeah.
close up of the labeling for that bag, is that correct?
Just the property label is placed on it as the property room, containing the same information, containing the washcloth collected from Detective Reese at 02/19 hours on the 27th of February.
I don't know if I could return these to the clerk. As the next number exhibit 25. Collection, packaging, processing. Is that your responsibilities in this case?
Collecting and packaging, yes, I do not. The only, if you want to use terms such as photographing, the actual processing, I do not do.
So after your job is done, it goes to someone else.
That's correct. Whatever requests are made from the homicide detectives, it'll follow the property to the lab, and that's where the testing is completed. At this point, once I have everything turned in, packaged, paperwork complete, my involvement in the case ends until usually I don't hear anything about it. I don't get notified of results. Usually the only time I know that a case has come through fruition is when I get notified 3 or 4 years later for court. And that's where I learn the result of the testing and anything like that. But as soon as this part of it is done for me, that's my involvement is over.
You're on to the next call.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask about, we went through a lot of photographs of that apartment.
Mhm.
2-bedroom, 2-bath. Throughout looking and photographing that apartment, did you see any alcoholic beverage
I did not know.
or any alcoholic beverage containers?
No, sir.
Did you see anything of drugs, any?
I don't recall. I can't remember if there was no, I don't believe so. No, I was fixing to say I can't remember if there was a pill bottle on the nightstand or not.
You said it was a supplement?
Yes,
Okay. But with respect to, have you worked scenes where there have been drugs?
I have, yes.
And have you worked scenes that really didn't involve drugs, but there were drugs there?
Yes,
Is that something you would notice and document?
yes.
And as far as any drug paraphernalia, right, pipe, blunts, whatever, did you see anything like that there?
I did not.
Okay. I don't know if this comes with a medication, right, but did you see an EpiPen or anything
No, I did
like
not.
that
No, sir.
there at all? And we already asked about body-worn camera and videoing
Yes, sir.
while you're there, but do you do that while you're packaging the evidence?
No. Again, the purpose of body worn camera is your interaction with the public. It would only be on if I'm actually out performing police duties, a traffic stop, or I decide because I'm a sworn officer, I would answer a call, back up another officer, then it would go on like normal, but not there. No.
Those are my questions. All right, questions? Mr. Taylor?
Thank you. May I please see exhibit 16 and exhibit 25?
Morning, is Officer Terry still the appropriate?
Mr. Terry, Jason, either one's fine.
So, I'm gonna say Officer Terry, because it feels appropriate here in this
Yes, sir.
setting.
Yes, sir.
Officer Terry, you clearly have a lot of experience as a trained officer doing these kind of investigations. And part of your training and experience, you're trained for thoroughness in these kind of investigations. Is that fair?
Yeah, based upon the information that's provided to me, yes.
Sure, you're provided information and then you're trained to execute on that information in as thorough a manner as possible, right?
We try, yes.
And part of that is to gather anything that might be potential evidence, right?
Based on the information we have, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is particularly true when we know it's a very serious case, right?
Potentially, yes.
And at this point in time, in this case, you had been communicating with Detective Reese, who's a homicide detective, right?
Yeah, and I talked with Sergeant Dickerson from homicide.
Who's also from homicide.
Yes.
So you knew that this was potentially a homicide investigation.
Potentially, yes. Just due to the, yes,
They were treating it as if it might be a homicide investigation. Is that fair?
yes.
Usually homicide doesn't get involved if this is something that might not be treated as a homicide investigation. Is that fair?
Not necessarily. If it's something of importance, of something they need, the homicide guys are generally considered the best detectives around. They will, something an unknown such as this initially, it can go to them, yes.
But the information you have is that they were concerned about it being a poisoning. Is that
Possible ingestion of poison or in this case, a drug.
that might have been something like a homicide, right?
It could have been, yes.
So in that situation, everybody's kind of trying to do their absolute best job, right?
Yes.
Preserve the most evidence possible.
Preserve what we can, yes.
And so that information that you had was, we look for anything that could be related to potential poisoning, right?
Based on, yes, what homicide detectives have told me.
And of course, you're taking directive from Detective Reese. Is it Sergeant or Lieutenant Dickerson?
I don't know what his rank is now.
Chris Dickerson,
Thank
right?
you. Yes.
Okay. So you're taking directive from those two in terms of what you should be focusing on.
Right, correct.
And obviously, if you see something that sticks out to you, you're going to collect that as well.
Yes, I'm gonna ask about it. If it fits in with the information they have, it's a relative, I'll ask them.
And you have some, in particular, since you're a very experienced officer, you have some leeway to collect additional things that maybe appear important to the case, right?
Oh, yeah, I would definitely talk to them about it because they're the one executing the search warrant. But yes, of course, I would talk to them about it.
So your kind of limitations are you don't collect anything without their approval.
No, I don't need their approval, but like I said earlier, it's their scene. It's their responsibility regarding, because they're in charge of the investigation. And I would talk to them about it. Let them know we have this might be something we need to collect or we don't. I would talk to them about it if there was any kind of conflict. That's a really good team over there on the homicide unit. I've worked with them several times. So that wouldn't be an issue of communicating, but I would definitely want them to know I'm just not going to arbitrarily start grabbing stuff. So yeah, it would be discussed with them.
But ultimately, they give the yay or nay on what you're collecting.
They can. I mean, I can collect it anyway, but yeah, they can give the yay or nay because, like I said, they're the ones that have all the available knowledge that you can at that time because they've talked to everyone involved. So, I trust what they're saying.
So the information that you have is potential poisoning, potentially drugs were involved, and we need to collect things that could be related to that information.
Right, and potentially a pink liquid.
Pink liquid.
Yes.
And you knew you were directed to collect the clear glasses, right?
Yes.
And the pink liquids.
Yes.
Before we get into the specific things that you collected, I'm going to put a kind of pin in that.
Yeah.
Did you have information that people had already been to that apartment before you had been there?
Yes.
What information did you have about that?
That just I think family and friends had gone in previously, documented what they saw inside and collected a comforter and packaged that comforter.
Was it your understanding that that was kind of in coordination with law enforcement?
No, not with us, no.
In your experience in working homicide cases, serious cases, is that kind of what you want in a scene?
No, it's not preferred, no.
What would you prefer in a scene?
I would prefer that we have the initial access, just if for nothing else, how things are collected, packaging, the order in which it's done. That's much more preferred. It's much more way to keep everything secure.
What concerns does that raise for you?
Several different concerns, but just generally the security of the crime scene.
When you say security, what does that mean? Because that sounds like a specialized kind of term.
No, security of the crime scene just means that the crime scene itself remains as pristine as possible.
Pristine, like nothing's been moved, nothing's been touched inadvertently.
Correct, yes.
Because you want to see an exact snapshot of how something that's supposedly a crime scene was at the time, right?
Well, as close as you can.
No clue.
That makes your job, your ability to collect and preserve evidence, you can do it exactly how it was at the time.
Yes, as close as possible. Yes,
As close as possible.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Did you have access to any videos or anything of what happened when people were at the apartment before you went?
No.
Were you given a description of what occurred when the people went to the apartment?
Just a brief description regarding, what exactly they did, yes.
Were you told how many times people went to the apartment?
No, I was just told that once, but I don't know if there was other times.
If you were processing the comforter, which we know was removed prior to your presence, how would you have handled the comforter?
After photographing it and doing the same sequence I would do with everything else, it would be placed probably at that point and leaving the scene, just because comforters are somewhat difficult to package, and even the oversized bags, that wouldn't be done on scene. More likely it would be packaged on scene in a biohazard, one of those big red biohazard bags, and put in that and secured for transportation.
And are biohazard bags specialized?
Yeah, they're just, like I said, the big red bags that have biohazard on it.
So does that mean nothing can get in or out?
That's a trash bag, yeah. I mean, it still has to be secured, but yes.
Is it different from like a store trash bag?
I'm not sure of the quality of it. To me, they might feel sturdier, but I really don't know.
Is it closed fully, like you tie it fully off?
You have to tie it fully off, yes.
And that's your protocol?
Yes. Well, yeah, that's what I would do.
You then put it inside of like a paper bag that's sealed?
Well, no, not for transport. I would just put it inside there, and generally, depending on the possible biohazard, and if there's a lot of liquid, if not, I will place it on some butcher paper that I kept inside the van, or absent the butcher paper, use some of those
We'll be doing the
evidence bags, lay that down and set it on top of there.
If there was any kind of biological material like chunks of vomit, to be blunt,
Yeah.
is that something you would collect independently?
No.
That you just leave that on the comforter?
I would leave that. At best, I might do a swab just to be on the safe side, but that would lay us down the comforter.
I want to talk about Your Honor, permission to publish photographs from Exhibit 16 to the witness. I want to ask you a few questions about some of the photographs that you took.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't know which letter this is, but this is a photograph of Detective Mathis in the island, it appears.
I believe so, yes.
Are you aware if those bottles were already on the island when police officers arrived at the scene?
Way it's described to me, and as I indicated in my crime scene report, they were placed there by the homicide detectives.
So potentially homicide detective, Detective Reese, and whoever he was working
Whoever
with,
was there.
went into the somewhere and took them out.
Yes.
You know where they took them out from?
I believe it was the refrigerator, from what I was told.
You didn't actually witness that.
No.
You don't know where in the fridge they took them out from?
No.
You don't know, do you know when they took them out?
No, not exactly, no.
You indicated you did not take samples of any of these food items. Is that right?
No, I did not.
So we didn't take samples of these cookies. Is that right?
Oh, yes, sir, that's correct.
Do we know what's inside this bowl right here? And this is a photograph, a close-up photograph of the food.
Yeah, I believe from looking on the outside, it was gravy. I think the other one had some noodleish type thing in it, I believe, if I remember correctly.
If we had information in this trial that this was a chicken Alfredo dinner, is it possible that was Alfredo sauce?
Yeah, it was possible, yes.
But you did not take a sample of the Alfredo sauce.
I did not know.
And you did not take a sample of what looks like it could be spaghetti in here?
No, I did not.
And do you know what's inside these foil packs?
I don't recall. I'm thinking breadsticks, but I can't specifically recall.
So in a case that is potentially a poisoning case, none of the food items were collected.
No.
That means, so far as you know, none of the food items were tested today.
They were not, no.
And that was a decision that Detective Reese made?
Well, collectively, they said, based on the information, the pink liquid being talked about, that they identified these liquids as what they want to collect.
At any point in time, did you have a discussion with Detective Reese and say, out of an abundance of caution, maybe we should collect a little bit of this?
I don't recall having that conversation. No.
Just to orient everybody in the court reporter here, this is a picture of the island facing the sink.
Yes.
And next to the sink, do you see a sort of a pink cup with a top on it?
Yeah.
Yes, circled right there. Thank you. Do you recall ever looking inside that pink cup?
I don't recall. That would be something I would have done, but I don't recall that. No.
And my understanding is you did not collect that pink cup.
I did not know.
Do you recall ever having a conversation with Detective Reese about collecting that pink cup?
No.
Do you recall attempting to take any kind of swab or anything out of that pink cup?
No.
And just because we're talking about swabs a little bit, it is potentially possible at crime scenes to get very, very trace amounts of evidence from surfaces, from cups, from other places. Is that right?
Yes.
Sometimes, especially in drug cases, I mean, drugs can leave like very, very small amounts can be found places, right?
Correct.
And so that was not something that was ever collected or tested. So far as you know.
No.
And this, to orient everybody, this is the picture kind of the bed and the nightstand. Is that right?
Oh, yes, sir.
And on the nightstand, that I think was mentioned earlier, there is another cup, right?
That's correct.
Do you remember ever looking or investigating the cup specifically?
Yeah, I don't believe there was anything inside.
Do you remember if you took a swab of the cup?
Did not.
Do you remember having a discussion with Detective Reese at any point in time about whether that cup should be collected?
No.
And so that was never an item that was collected or preserved or tested so far as you're aware?
No.
Similarly, this is we noted some kind of supplement or something on the bedstand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember looking inside the supplement bottle?
I did. I do remember looking inside. I don't remember it seeming anything out of the ordinary.
Okay, and there's no pictures in there, right?
No, there's not.
Do you know, down in this nightstand, there is a green item.
Mhm.
Do you know what that green item is?
I don't recall, no.
Next to the bed, there's a backpack.
Yes,
At any point in time, did you look inside the backpack?
I did.
Okay, and there's no pictures inside the backpack?
No.
So that's not something that was necessarily preserved?
The backpack?
Yeah,
No,
based on your investigation?
no.
This window, and this is in the bedroom picture of the window. You indicated that the shades were down. That's exactly how it was when you got there.
Yes.
Do you know, when you look out that window, what you're looking at?
I believe it's the balcony based upon a floor plan I've seen of those apartments over there. I believe it's the balcony.
Do you know what is behind the apartment complex?
That I do not. I'm trying to remember which side that was on. It could be, depending on which way it's facing.
Is it a business?
If it could be, if you're looking at the front of the building from the parking lot, it's to the left. There are businesses through there.
This photograph of the closet, I understand when you testified earlier, you looked inside the closet, but you did not do a thorough search of the closet.
No, it did not.
So here we have some little sort of like a jewelry box kind of thing with drawers. Is that right?
Appears to be, excuse me.
You didn't look inside the jewelry box drawers at all.
I did not. No.
We have sort of several clothing drawers that are maybe closed. It's hard to tell if they're closed or open. You didn't look inside any of those.
I did not.
Up top here, it appears that there are several boxes stacked up, maybe shoe boxes, kind of 2 rows deep at least. Is that correct?
Appears to be, yes.
Did you look inside any of those boxes?
I did not know.
Here there are like sort of cloth tubs almost. Did you pull any of those down and look inside any of those?
I did not.
I know that you've done a lot of investigations and probably some drug investigations. Are there a plethora of places inside this closet where drugs could be hidden?
I
Could
say,
be, yes.
yeah, about
There was a question about
Yeah.
if you didn't find any drugs. in
adult
the
sugar, you
house,
got to
but
go looking places.
Is it
now.
common for people to leave all of their drugs just sitting out every time?
Oh, no.
And this is a better picture of all the boxes that are up there, shoe boxes and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Just to confirm, you didn't pull down and look at any of those, right?
I did not.
This bathroom, there's a number of drawers and cabinets in here. Is that right?
Yes,
I didn't notice any pictures inside any of the drawers or cabinets. Did you look inside there?
yes, that would be normal. Open the drawer or open the bottom. Yes.
Was there anything like a medicine cabinet or anywhere inside there?
No,
So even like things like Tylenol or Band-Aids or first aid kind of stuff, that wasn't in any of there?
I didn't notice any. They didn't have the traditional cabinet that you open from the mirror, that type of thing. No.
Did you find any spot in this apartment where that stuff was kept?
No, I don't recall it, no.
And here, and I think this is just a different angle, here we have like a cooler and some tubs,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't look at any of those, did you?
No, so, I mean, the one on top, it was open, but other than that, no.
one thing at the beginning. I've got my exhibit pictures I flipped around. This is the picture in the kitchen facing Detective Mathis.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there was a question here about this surveillance camera.
Yes, sir.
You did not collect that surveillance camera, did you?
No, I did not.
Were you provided any information prior to doing your work here that there was some concern about the surveillance camera?
No.
As part of your job as a crime scene investigator, do you occasionally have an opportunity to take fingerprint samples?
Yes.
And what does that process kind of entail?
Fingerprint samples involve just, like I said, it's fingerprint powder on the surface, depending on the surface. Seeing if there's any ridges and details, and then lifting them with lift tape.
And you can't always get fingerprints from every surface, right?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
Sometimes, I mean, it looks like that in TV shows a lot, but it's often very tough, isn't it?
Correct, yes, sir.
But potentially, if there was an allegation that an item was moved by somebody, that could be a candidate for a fingerprint sample, couldn't it have been?
Could it be, based on your question? Yes.
But at no point in time were you asked to collect that security camera, were you?
I was not, no.
And so far as you're aware, that was not collected or processed.
Not by me. I don't know if it ever was, but not by me, no, sir.
Straighten out our exhibits. 1 second, I have another couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 25C. This is a label
Yes, sir.
from the property room.
Okay.
In the bottom left corner, it indicates that it was received on 2/25/9/30.
That's the date of incident as listed on the 110 form is the property sheet. Because you have to list the date collected and the date of the incident. And that initial complaint number was for that date and time. I don't know why it's listed that way in the system.
Right. Yeah, that's not what it says, though, right? It says received on.
Yes, correct.
And you don't know why it says that?
No, sir, I do not.
Your Honor, I think when you received the comforter, was the washcloth in the same bag as the comforter?
I believe it was, yes.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can you read the record?
Do you need these?
So Scooby-Doo and the crew then grabbed up a washcloth in there with the dang on comforter.
Like the same Officer Terry then, but
Yes, sir.
or Mr. Terry, with respect to was the washcloth then tucked in with the comforter?
comforter?
I believe so. I mean, I could see it in there, so I knew it was in there.
Counsel asked about the collection of evidence, and you trying to do your best job, correct?
Yes, sir.
And wearing gloves is one of the main things, correct?
Yes, sir.
In collecting evidence.
Yes, sir.
Asked about drugs and scenes of homicide. I believe you said was previous caller you've been on was drug related?
It was a death scene, and one of the things I recovered was, I believe it was a mirror that had some white powder on it.
And have you worked overdose deaths?
I have, yes.
And at those scenes, do you see paraphernalia and drugs?
Yes, if it's an overdose scene, generally the last drug they took or a portion of it or the packaging of it is going to be right there.
Anything like that whatsoever in this scene?
No, sir.
The counsel asked about the backpack that you looked in.
Mhm.
Do you remember what was in it? Was anything?
I don't recall. It was nothing that stood out of being of value, so I don't recall what was in there.
Now, one thing as well, it goes back to kind of doing the best job with gloves.
So that's your answer? That normally in an OD, the last thing they took was right there. So
Do you wear like biohazard suits?
No, basically, I mean, there are certain criteria and protocol where we would, but 99.9% of the time, no, we do not.
Okay. And were you wearing one of those suits, biohazard suits at the previous incident that you went to?
I was not, no.
All right. And at this scene?
No,
I don't
sir.
have any pictures of you.
No, sir.
Okay. And did you change clothes from one scene to another?
No, sir.
And one of the things about wearing gloves, would that be to try as much as possible to avoid contamination?
Yes.
Can that possibility be 100% humanly eliminated from any scene?
No, we can try our best to make it as unlikely as possible, but I cannot make it where it's impossible.
I believe you said that folding the comforter into a bag is one of the difficult things.
Very difficult, yes.
And as you're doing that, do you have to?
You try your best not to make any direct contact with the comforter for a lot of different reasons. One, you don't want to contaminate it, anything on it. So it's one reason the more things are handled, I think, I don't want to mess anything up. And two, in a situation like that, I believe when I folded that up and put it in, I needed assistance from one of the other crime scene investigators to fold it up. Generally, you're holding it outside your body, trying to fold it up, roll it up in a correct way, in a tight enough way to make sure you can get it in the mouth of that sack. If not, there are tools there we have to actually build our own bags for these comforters.
Going back to do the best you can.
Yes, sir.
That's my question. Any other questions?
Yes, yes.
I know that this is not like everyone's wearing a biohazard suit for your part of this, but you were aware the scene was contaminated before you even got there, right?
Well, it depends. What's your definition of contaminated?
Well, it was in one of the detective's reports. I think that's his word. That
That's which detective, and that's a term. Somebody just being inside to collect an article does not automatically mean contaminated scene. You look up any definition of crime scene contamination, if you can find one, and most everything in there has to deal with unintended transferring of physical or biological to a scene, or the unintended alteration of a scene. Their act was purposeful. It was as the best way they knew how because they thought it was their only option.
you don't know if contamination occurred, do you?
I do not know, but you can't, that in of itself does not automatically, somebody's presence there does not automatically go, that's contamination.
Gotcha. But it could have been.
Could have, yes.
And the chances increase when there's civilians coming around the scene, right?
Civilians, first responders, basically medical examiners, anybody who goes in that scene has a potential, yes.
And this was not a case where we believe that someone was shooting up, we had information someone was shooting up drugs and there were needles and a bunch of drugs laying out. That wasn't the allegations, right?
No.
So you would have expected to find a bunch of needles and drugs laying around on the floor, right?
Well, if it was drug related or drug poisoning, I would expect, if it was self-administered, I would expect some paraphernalia, a baggie or something to be there.
That's not what you were investigating at that time.
No, at that time, there were a lot of unknowns, suspicious. I believe all I knew at that time was pinkish liquid, the phone conversation that was had between Miss Denny and her friend, and that she was transported on life support. Believed it was poison, in this case a drug. That's why I labeled it as a possible unknown drug on the vials I collected. That was the extent.
And despite all those unknowns, there were still at least 2 cups you didn't collect, right?
Yes,
And several items of food that you didn't collect, right?
but collects some samples. Yeah.
Some-
And the only reason I correct that, our partner will not accept food products in that sense. But yes, you're
But
correct.
despite those
Yes, sir.
unknowns, there
Yes, sir.
were at least some food samples you didn't collect.
Sure, yes, sir.
Any other questions?
No.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, if you'll step down the hallway, we'll take a short break. Who will the next witness be?
Nicole Dowell,
Who is it?
Nicole Dowell, Your Honor, with the Metro National Crime Lab.
Okay. And you're requesting her introduce what?
I'm sorry.
You're requesting that she introduce what?
She's gonna look at states exhibit 17 through 24.
Okay. All right, we'll be in a-
Of course, in 15-minute recess.
This is very different. I've heard of some crazy investigations in my day. Where like, stranger things have happened, but I think this is going to be the standard for that now. This will be the stranger thing or the strangest thing that I have possibly seen. This is the scheme. You said that Najee set up, and I only feel weird about it because I can't believe he said that the comforter was not contaminated. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of thrown for a loop, and I got quiet when the first investigator, who was that went first? Hold on, let me get his name. That was Mr. Feeney, Colin Feeney. When Mr. Feeney said that, we already heard him say that DV took this over, and we know we already heard from the DV cop that spoke with Blaise at the hospital. But when the DV cop, he said the DV cop was supposed to secure the crime scene just based off of the DV element alone. And then after the DV cop was supposed to do something, they should have secured the scene then. That was already kind of weird. But bells are going off when you tell me that you've included Hami to come in and investigate, and Hami goes in and does a search warrant without knowing the method of the Hami. Well, what are we looking for if we don't know how she went away? She going up out of here? Yeah, the bearded guy. What are we looking for with no method? And then if you say it's a poisoning, why are we not collecting everything she could have ingested? The chicken Alfredo, every piece of juice, the butter, the seasonings, everything should have been tested, on top of the fact that y'all didn't know if it was what substance it was. That don't make no sense to go up in the house and say, we here for a Hami. We don't know how she died, but we're here. Then you know for a fact that Scooby-Doo and the rest of the folks that hopped into the mystery machine then went in the crime scene without any direction, and then went in there before the cops, moved stuff around. We can see evidence of what they moved around because one picture looks one way one day, and then the next day shit is moved. The comforter's missing. So you mean to tell me that the comforter's not contaminated? Even if you want to say that the comforter was not contaminated by the trunk because it was in a bag, nobody that Scooby-Doo and her little friends do not remember collecting a washcloth. But a washcloth was in the bag with the comforter. So if nothing more, the comforter is at least contaminated by the washcloth because you don't know where the stuff from the washcloth ends and the comforter begins. And the camera was moved. We saw all of that. So you come in there and you see a bed with no comforter on it and ain't one to be found. And then you find out that the unknown substance is a rug, but you don't go looking for rugs like a rug person would be hiding them. They ain't going to be out in the sugar bowl. You don't look in those shoe boxes. You don't look down in any of those supplements. Why wouldn't you put it in another pill bottle? You don't look in anything in her nightstand. You don't look through her closet. You don't look anywhere for these substances. And you also don't look for any type of contaminant in anything that she just cooked and is packaged right there. If Blaise did this, the state is creating its own doubt. If Blaise did not do this, dear God. All right, y'all, let me get something to drink.
She should be able to.
And I told the jury this, that we may go closer to one before we break or even after, depending on what witnesses, just since there's a ceremony, we may need to extend the lunch hour or down the hall. All right, you'll step up, raise your right hand and
You swear the testimony you're about to give is you the truth, so help you God. Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Dowell. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Good morning. Yes, my name is Nicole Dowell, Nicole
Ms. Dowell, where are you employed?
I'm currently employed with the Metro Nashville Police Department Crime Laboratory
How long have you been with the crime lab?
for 12 years.
What is your current assignment at the crime lab?
I'm a forensic scientist in the Drug Identification Unit.
Can you walk the jury through your history at the crime lab and what kind of positions you've held?
Sure. I was hired in 2014 as a forensic technician, and then in 2015 I was promoted to a forensic scientist.
Can you describe your job at the crime lab?
Yes. My job is to analyze submitted evidence for the absence or presence of controlled substances.
And what kind of training have you had for your job?
I had to complete an internal training program that consisted
This
of
might
assigned
give-
readings, lectures, observation of senior scientists, practical exams, and a competency exam.
Okay, what's your education background?
I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Forensic Science from Eastern Kentucky University.
And are you required to have ongoing training?
We're not required, but we do. I participate in continuing education by attending seminars and workshops in my specific discipline.
Your Honor, this one I would like to pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Dowell, what did I just give you?
My CV.
Okay. Have you ever testified in court as an expert in drug ID?
Yes,
About how many times?
approximately 8 times.
Your Honor, at this time I would like to tender Ms. Dowell as an expert in drug ID.
Any questions? Okay. Or again, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Dow will be allowed to give an expert opinion in her field, and a lay witness or untrained witness would not be allowed to give. You can place such weight upon her testimony as you choose.
Yes, sir, and at this time, could we mark her CV as the
Okay.
state's next exhibit 26?
All right.
Ms. Dowell, were you asked to review evidence relating to a Metro Nashville Police Department complaint number ending in 0532?
Yes,
Does the crime lab assign unique lab case numbers to all the evidence it receives?
yes, it does.
Okay, and what was that crime lab number associated with that complaint number I just gave you?
Do you have the report?
Did you create a report in this case?
Yes, I did. Thank you. The crime lab number is CL-23-001060.
And what type of evidence did you receive from the police department for this case?
I received drinking glasses, empty bottles, and liquid residues and liquid.
And what do you do when you receive evidence from the police department?
When I receive the evidence from my evidence receiving unit, I take it back to the unit. I photograph the evidence, and I open, inventory the contents, collect weights, sample, and then start performing my testing.
Ms. Howell, where's the crime lab located?
It's located in Madison Precinct on the second floor.
And at this time, I would like to show her state's exhibits 17 through 24.
All right, we got Olive.
Yes, sir. Ms. Dow, if you could just look at all of the pieces of evidence Mr. Evans is gonna hand you and say whether or not you reviewed this evidence.
Okay. This is submission 008, and yes, I did test this evidence.
Okay, what is that?
This is a clear drinking glass, and I can tell that I tested the evidence because of the evidence tape and my initials and the date. This is submission 007, also a clear drinking glass. And again, I have to see the crime lab tape with my initials and the date on it, so I did test this evidence. This is submission 006. Inside the paper bag were 2 empty bottles. I also can see the yellow crime lab tape and my initials and date, indicating I tested this item. These are submissions 003, 004, and 005. They are amounts of liquid said to be removed from drinking containers. I can tell that I tested them because, again, the yellow crime lab tape, and they have my initials and date on them.
Ms. Dowell, 009 and 010, the counter and the washcloth, did you test those pieces of evidence at the crime lab?
No,
And why is that?
because it was suspected to contain biological material, and we do not test biological material in the drug identification unit.
Okay, what do you do with that type of evidence?
It is outsourced to a third-party laboratory.
And is NMS Labs something the crime lab routinely sends evidence to?
Yes,
And was that done in this case?
yes, it was.
For that blue comforter and the yellow washcloth?
Yes,
And Ms. Dowell, were these pieces of evidence given to you in a sealed condition?
yes, they were.
Okay, would you accept them if they were not sealed?
I would make it, if they were not sealed, a note would be made in my case file and it would be included on the report.
How is property stored at the crime lab?
When it's received into the crime lab, it's stored in the evidence receiving unit in one of their vaults until an analyst has been assigned. And then once the scientist or analyst is assigned the case, they notify evidence receiving unit that they'd like to pick up the evidence. Then custody is transferred to the scientist and they will take the evidence back to their specific unit. So drug identification unit in my case, and then it will be stored in the drug identification vault, inside of my personal storage locker until I'm ready to perform the analysis.
And Ms. Dowell, you are not an expert in toxicology, is that correct?
That's correct.
As part of generating your report in this case, does the report contain weight and the results of your testing?
Yes, it does.
Can you walk the jury through what type of testing you did for the pieces of evidence you tested?
Yes. So 2 tests are required in the drug identification unit. Both of the tests that I performed on each piece of evidence involved a technique called chromatography. Chromatography allows you to separate components of a mixture. To do that, you employ a stationary phase and a mobile phase. The stationary phase remains still throughout the whole testing process, while the mobile phase, which is typically a gas or a liquid, flows over the stationary phase. Thin layer chromatography is a preliminary test that was used in this case. A glass plate coated with silica is the stationary phase. The sample is then spotted onto the plate along with a solution containing known drug standards. That plate is then placed in a solvent system. As the solvent rises vertically up the plate, separation occurs. This happens because some of the components of the mixture react differently or more strongly to the silica. So if they react more strongly to the silica, they will not travel as far up the plate. If they don't react as strongly, they will travel further. Once the solvent reaches the top of the plate, it is removed and placed in a visualization tank containing iodine. Iodine vapor allows us to visualize those spots. And then we can compare the unknown sample spots to the known sample spots, standard spots, excuse me. The confirmatory test used in this case is called gas chromatography mass spectrometry, or GCMS. It is two separate instruments that are combined together. The gas chromatograph, again, allows for separation of components in a mixture. So in this case, the sample is injected into the instrument where it is vaporized. So it's now in a gaseous phase. It flows through a column, and that column has an internal coating, which is the stationary phase in this case. So a column, you can think of it like a long, thin straw. So if the inside of the straw is where the coating is. The mobile phase in this case is helium. It flows through the column and helps the components, it helps the components of the mixture travel through the column. Again, it depends on how strongly each component reacts to that column coating, how long it will take to travel through the column. Once it travels through the column, it enters into the mass spectrometer, where it is then bombarded with electrons and it fragments. That fragmentation pattern is unique, and we can compare that to known drug standards.
And can you tell the jury what the screening is?
Yes, so the screening method is what we use on the gas chromatograph mass spectrometer. It allows for us to screen for a wide variety of controlled substances.
Okay, and is cocaine one of those substances that it would screen for?
Yes,
And that was done in all the pieces of evidence other than the comforter and the washcloth?
yes.
And Ms. Dowell, were you able to detect any sort of substance in all of the pieces of evidence you examined?
I didn't detect any controlled substances in any of the items I tested.
Your Honor, if you'll give me 1 minute.
So no controlled substances in any of the sample. And real quick, just to go back, we had samples of the liquid from the V8 splash fruit medley bottle. We had samples from the clear liquid from the water glass, and we had samples from the liquid from the Minute Maid bottle. And then she didn't do the washcloth or the comforter. So nothing she tested had the sugar.
Ms. Dowell, can you walk the jury through if any type of evidence would have been rinsed out or anything like that, if substances would have been picked up?
Yes, so there was a clear drinking glass that didn't appear to have any residue. There was no visible residue or contents. Those glasses were rinsed with methanol. So if there was some type of residue that I couldn't see visibly, I would extract it with the methanol.
Okay, and if these pieces of evidence had been rinsed out prior to the crime lab, is it likely substances would have popped up?
If they had been rinsed prior to coming into my possession,
Yes, ma'am.
I can't really speak to what happens to it before it comes into my possession.
So y'all know y'all had no drugs found in any of the samples. So you're going to try to lean that towards there was nothing found in the samples because he had it on him or he directly administered it in her drink or what have you. So it wasn't anything that she would have initially poured on her own. But at the end of the day, you trying to make her say that he possibly rinsed it, like
Not
cleaned up.
something that you did or rinsed out, but if someone prior to you, not with Metro PD, would have rinsed it out with warm water, so anything like that, are these results consistent with that?
Potentially, if the glass contained some kind of controlled substance and it was washed with water, that could remove some of that controlled substance, yes.
And what else could remove controlled substances from any sort of drinking glass?
I mean, if it's a physical amount of solid material, you could just
We have-
pour that amount
even have
out. It just
sugar
depends
anywhere.
on what it is and how much of it is.
And you trying to get her to say
Testified previously that
this is what the
drinking
results
glass
would
did
the
not look
results
like
would
it
be
had
the same if
anything
you
in it.
cleaned
Is
out
that
the
correct?
glass.
Yes, that's correct.
Wait a minute now. This is getting crazy. This is getting really
Out
crazy.
of the liquids, you have a red liquid, a light pink liquid, and a clear liquid. There was no substances found in that either, is that correct?
That's correct.
At least they had
And
Corey
you-
making the purchase.
Those were from the actual bottles, correct? You tested the bottles
Yes, I tested both the bottles and the liquid.
and nothing was in either bottle, the drinking glasses, or the liquid.
Correct.
Your Honor, if I could admit Ms. Dowell's report as the state next exhibit 27.
Okay.
Helps.
And Ms. Dowell, if you were not provided with the item or the drinking glass that was used, your testing would not be helpful, is that correct? With this controlled substance in it? It would not have been detected?
If I was not provided with the drinking glass,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand the question.
If a drinking glass had contained a controlled substance, but you were not provided with that drinking glass, your testing on the other two would not have been helpful, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if the controlled substance had been in the clear drinking glasses, the two you were provided with, that had been rinsed out with water, warm water, cold water, soapy water, it would have removed, it is possible and highly likely that it would have removed that controlled substance.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right, I'll over the objection. She's answered it. Any other questions?
No, sir. That's the state's.
All right, question on behalf of Mr. Taylor.
Yes, thank you. May I see it? 27, please?
Good morning, Ms. Dowell.
Good morning.
So you're only testing stuff that you're given, right?
Correct.
You don't really make any sort of investigative decisions about what's tested and what isn't tested, right?
I don't make any investigative decisions as far as what is submitted to the laboratory.
Sure. So things are submitted to you and you test what's submitted, right?
Correct.
May I publish exhibit 27
Sure.
to Ms. Dowell? This is your report
they did have
Yes, can you scroll to the last page where my signature is, please?
splash in the pink lemonade and the water from the glass. They did.
That's your signature there.
Yes,
At the front of this report, it says the submitting officer is Adam Reese. Is that right?
yes.
So he's the one who submitted the items to you?
No, he's the one that submitted the Form 282 or the forensic services request to our evidence receiving unit.
Oh, so he makes the request as to what gets tested.
In this instance, yes.
Okay. I noticed on here, items 7 and 8, there's a clear drinking glass, item 7, right?
Yes,
And then item 8 is identified as a clear drinking glass with light pink residue. Is that kind of your description of it there?
yes, that's my description.
Is that something where you described a process where you kind of do a rinse?
Correct.
Is that a process where you would do the rinse in that glass?
Yes,
And then you would test whatever comes out of the rinse to determine if there's controlled substances?
yes.
And in this situation, there were no controlled.
It's crazy to suggest that there's a drinking glass there with a light pink residue, and you're still saying that he must have rinsed or cleared this out. Like he must have, somebody could have cleaned it out and you would have got these same results. How are we getting the same result? And the residue is there. So it wasn't in the pink drink. To me,
Substance found in any of this, right?
That's correct.
And there were some questions asked by the state. Isn't it possible that some of these glasses were washed and maybe that's why you didn't find anything? That's kind of what was asked, right?
Yes,
Is it also possible that there were never any drugs in these glasses?
yes, that's a possibility.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You can step down and be excused. Who's the next?
The next witness is Detective Tom Miller. He is going to be a bit lengthy, and there are some things that I need to show to defense counsel prior to him testifying.
Okay, is there someone else to call?
The next person is Dr. Carney, who is the expert, and he has to testify before her, so no.
What do they not have?
Well, from yesterday's testimony, there were some additional exhibits that were added to his testimony, so I need to show them to them before we put them up. That's true.
Okay, I need to proceed on, so if you have a witness, we can call.
he ain't going for it.
Anybody else other than two?
I could call and establish his qualifications, and then I could break after that. That would be helpful.
Do y'all know what she's talking about as far as the other exhibits you don't have?
Generally, I have not seen.
Can you give them to them and see if they need them?
Yeah, I just got them.
Yeah, we ain't doing nothing early. Judge said we're gonna keep going. Did they test the meds in the pill bottle? That was on the nightstand. They did not. They did not collect those. Nothing from the nightstand was collected. Nothing in the book bag was collected. Did not check drawers in the jewelry box. Did not go through any of those shoe boxes. There was something else. They about to wake up the giant.
me ask this, maybe somebody else, are we down to 2 witnesses? Okay, is there
Oh.
someone else to call other than those 2?
We have multiple experts as our next witnesses, and there's a sequence to them. I'm prepared to call Detective Miller, I just need a few minutes with Mr. Brand.
Okay, what's a few? You've had a few, so what else?
Yeah, you said this has been a few.
We need 15 minutes, because he does have an objection and he wants me to change something, which I'm more than happy to do it, but it's gonna take me about 15 minutes.
So there's no other civilian witnesses that you plan on calling?
I do, but again, I need the other 2 people to testify first.
You don't want to do it out of her order.
All right, let's go to the jury. You'll step down the hall for 12 minutes.
You said 12. You already had a few. Get 12 more.
What is it that the state's wanting to introduce that the defense hasn't had access to?
There were a couple of messages and artifacts from Jade Benning's phone that were added based off of witness testimony yesterday that happened very late last night. I have had people working on it last night and this morning to get everything updated. I
You're
just.
talking about texts like from October, November of 2022?
There are messages from multiple different time periods. He has
So
had.
they didn't have the download.
He has had it. I'm showing him what I am needing to publish, and he has a couple of objections that I can easily change.
It's just commentary and uneasiness, that's all we're talking about here.
Commentary. Okay, we'll be back in 10 minutes.
He counting. He said with a few plus your 12 is your 15, and you just sat here and talked for 2, so be back in 10. Listen, judge ain't playing. Judge said there will be peace. There will be peace. The judge is starting to act like Pop. This will be done in decency and in order. He is not playing with these people, is he? He's not playing. Not in the least bit. Yeah, he's equally spicy. I said that yesterday. It started off with the defense, but he is equally as spicy. The only difference is the defense seemed to have a tougher skin because she always sounded like she about to cry. She being the state. All right, let me go get me something else to drink. Let me go get me a little snack. Because now shit, according to the judge, I might have 8 minutes. 1 second. All right, guys, let's talk. Now, while there is a lot of circumstantial and circumstantial evidence, barely, not strong, but it's kind of there. But it's kind of not, because you're not putting the sugar on nobody. But they're still handling their case with these experts. But here's what I haven't heard yet: anything outside the fact that he was alone with her. That's all I got. Anybody else? Y'all got anything else as far as like what they could be talking about, as far as why Blaise? Besides Najee, because had she not changed up her attitude and had she not been caught in lies, I think even if she wouldn't have changed, even if her attitude would have stayed the same and she had a snafu here or there, I just don't remember. That day was so traumatic. It was a blur. I remember this, but can't remember the time. Something like that. And she would have been kind of believable. I wasn't feeling the crocodile tears, but that's because I've seen them before. In the preliminary, it's pretty much the same thing. And to be honest, it wasn't just a preliminary, it was also the bond hearing. And even with her theatrics in the bond hearing, he still got bond. You see what I'm saying? So I don't even want to call it circumstantial, because it's just like proximity. You was the last one with her, so must have been you. When technically, within that last couple of hours, it was him, Najee, and what's Keontae. So technically, her last about 60 to 120 minutes on this, responsibly on this earth, she was with those three. And the two that removed themselves have contradicted each other's story. Keontae didn't say anything about them being at the school. He said she drove to his house and they rode together, sat over there, had the same comment about the black hole. Obviously, there was another comment, but they couldn't get into it because Najee couldn't remember. But he said they met at his house, drove over to her house together, got the food, went back to her house because he rode with her. They ate at his house and she left. She said they were at school and she didn't like the food that the other kids ordered. So she told Keontae, let's go over to my friend's house and grab a plate. Haley, I don't believe that there's any proof of she did not. There was no screen recording, no audio recording. There's no proof of this call, the content or context of this call. That's the other thing, Mia, that she said a couple of things yesterday that were a little off. I asked my best friend, hey, we in a good spot. It's getting there. We moving towards the spot. Good spot. We've been good these last 2 days. Third time's a charm, girl. I'm putting together a paint and sip. I'm getting ready to cook. What should I cook? What should I cook? And her response was, if you cook anything, if you're gonna cook for somebody, then you should cook my favorite. What? What? If you're going to cook for anyone, she was not invited initially to the paint and sip. She popped up with a guest. And it started to give the vibe of, I'm here. I've been at the dang on appointments. I've been the one coming around. I've been the one helping you. I've been the one. It was like she was almost competing. And then we had the situation of the date of birth when they said, what's your relation to her? And he said, she's my girlfriend. What? Oh, well, date of birth. Well, since she's your girlfriend, why don't you get a date of birth? He couldn't, so I did. Okay. But then after that, immediately says, when he yells at her, you act like you care. According to her, you act like you care about her more than me. She's the mother of my child. And at that point, Najee said, we shouldn't be here talking about who's closest in relationships. This is about the care for her and the baby. Well, where was that attitude when we were talking about the date of birth, when you was trying to pull, I know her better than you? So she did a couple of things that just didn't make sense. And then the biggest thing that did not make sense to me was not any one particular question. It was the fact that when it came down to, you heard your best friend in distress. You heard your best friend telling you that literally her killer was killing her at that moment. And you said, what was I going to tell 911? What was I supposed to do? I wouldn't. Why didn't those waterworks start then? I beat myself up about this every day. Why didn't I call? Why didn't I call? Just her whole attitude, answering certain questions, and being on those lies is something.
Maybe like 115 and then break.
I'm sure the clerk will stop you when we get to that. But I will try to.
Yeah, I mean, but try to pick a time that makes sense before you get into something else. Take a note of that. Okay. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, so help you God?
Detective Miller, could you please state your full name for the record?
Thomas Miller
And Detective Miller, where are you currently employed?
with the Metro Nashville Police Department.
And what is your current position with the Metro Nashville Police Department?
I am assigned to the Surveillance and Investigative Support Unit.
And what does the Surveillance and Investigative Support Unit do with the Metro Nashville Police Department?
Our primary role, or my primary role within that unit, is digital forensics. So I'm tasked with extracting or imaging data that resides within digital evidence, then processing that, analyzing that, and providing that information to the investigator of that crime.
And does that include analyzing cell phones?
Yes.
Is that kind of a primary focus of your day-to-day
That is
activities?
Yes, that's a majority of the type of evidence that we receive in our computer lab, our digital forensic lab.
And how long have you been in that position with the police department?
3.5 years.
And prior to being at SISU, what did you do before that?
I started in patrol, as all police officers do. After a few years, I became an adjunct firearms instructor for our academy, where I taught firearms and tactics on a temporary basis, just while we had trainees in the academy and actually learning there in the academy. I would be assigned out there temporarily during their firearms portion and help instruct that. Then in 2019, I was assigned out there full time, where I was our department's lead firearms instructor for a period. And then I was assigned to our armory, where I was in charge of issuing, maintaining, and repairing all the different types of firearms that we have and issue to our officers.
So you have a varied background. Can you describe specifically your training in digital forensics?
Yes. So it's a constantly evolving world, digital forensics. You guys all have cell phones, so we know that new cell phones come out on the market all the time. And then on top of that, it seems like we're getting a new update for our phones every week, a couple times a month. With every new make and model, with every new operating system, there's new bits and pieces for us to learn as investigators. So you're really a constant student is the best way I can describe it, is that things evolve so much and so quickly that we're constantly having to learn. I've had over 300 hours of coursework material and instruction. I've also had 3 years of working with tenured experts in this same field that oftentimes I would argue is better than in-classroom instruction, because you have just one-on-one education, people that have been doing it for years and decades. So that's kind of a bird's eye view of my education in this field.
Do you have actual certifications in digital forensics?
Yes, I have a number of them.
And I guess, can you estimate how many, did you train with other experts in digital forensics kind of at the beginning of you getting involved?
I did, yes.
And approximately how many devices have you analyzed?
Hundreds. It's hard to put an exact number. Approximately 1,000 devices come through our lab every year. And me being there for about 3.5 years, you're looking at roughly 3,000 to 3,500 devices. By no means have I put my hands on every one of those, but on a vast majority of those, I have assisted in some way in their processing.
And are there other people in the SISU lab that also analyze digital devices?
Yes.
Have you previously testified as an expert in digital forensics?
Yes, I have.
And how many times have you testified?
11.
Your Honor, at this time, I would proffer Detective Tom Miller as an expert in digital forensics.
Okay. Again, ladies and gentlemen, jury, Detective Miller will be allowed to give his expert opinion in digital forensics. A lay witness not be allowed to give. You can place such testimony, such weight on his testimony as you choose. All right.
Detective Miller, I'm going to ask that you be handed an item. Do you recognize the item that was just handed to you?
I do.
And what is that item?
This is Jade Benning's cell phone.
And can you describe, how did you become involved in this investigation? And was that device, I guess, one of the initial pieces of evidence that you analyzed?
Yes. So the process of which we receive evidence in our lab, when investigators collect them from either crime scenes or from individuals that they're interviewing, there's a number of ways that they can turn them into us. One of which being a series of lockers that have charging ports inside of them. And they can insert the phone into the locker, plug it up, make sure that it's charging, lock the phone up inside of that locker with a chain of custody form and the appropriate paperwork. Typically, those phones reside in that locker until we receive some sort of legal process to then extract information from those devices. So whether that's a search warrant or a signed consent form or something giving us legal authority to do it. So it normally sits there until we receive all of that paperwork, and then we bring it into the lab, and that's when we start working on it. If we're there in the lab at that time when the detective is wanting to turn it in, there's often times where they'll just knock on the door. We'll go and just receive that from them directly and bring it directly into the lab.
And did you analyze that phone in that same manner?
Yes.
And you were talking about the fact that you have to have a legal process. Did you actually run more than one extraction on that device?
We only ran one singular extraction on this device.
And can you describe what an extraction is?
Yes. So simplest way to describe it is it's ultimately a copy of the information that's on the phone. We have a number of pieces of hardware and software that have exploits that can break into phones, but also when you have the password, it makes things a lot easier, a little bit faster. So those tools will then remove the data. Well, not remove it, but they will copy out the information. They aren't removing anything from the device, but they the tools will then extract the information from that device and then place onto a computer, which then we plug into software that then processes it. Because if we looked at the data that came directly out of the phone, it's databases, and it's really ugly and hard to ingest. When we process it with our software, it makes it much easier for us to examine them, because it ultimately puts it into a form that's very similar to what you would be seeing on your own phone that we're all familiar with. So the software really helps out a lot with that.
The first time you did the extraction, once you have the extraction, what do you do with it?
That extraction then moves to our server from the tools that extract the data from the phone. That information or that data that is copied out from the phone is then entered into the software that I was just describing. That software processes it and then sorts it out basically and separates it into different folders and organizational systems to make it a little bit easier again for us to digest. Then it will then take the information that we give it from, say, the search warrant that might have a time frame. Typically, the entire device is not necessary for a crime that occurred on a specific day. So maybe months leading up to it. All investigations are going to be a little bit different, but many search warrants have a time frame. So when we input that into our software, it cuts out all the extra noise. So everything before and after that time frame is then just kind of set aside, and only that information within the time frame is then placed into the software for us to give to detectives.
And did you go through that process more than once for this particular device?
We did, yes.
And what was the, longest time frame that you used?
The longest time frame in the end would be from January 1st, 2022 to, I believe it was a day after the incident, February 26th, if I'm not mistaken.
And can you describe how much data was included in that time frame of approximately 13 months?
Forgive me, I can't speak to the exact number of gigabytes that were in the final copy. I know that the device itself had 127-ish gigabytes on it, but that may not sound like a lot, but when it's decompressed and then it's placed one piece of information on one sheet of paper, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of paper to display all the information within inside of that device.
And have you taken certain portions of the evidence and artifacts from that extraction to put into a presentation for trial this week?
Yes.
Is this presentation indicative of everything on the phone?
Absolutely not.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that the witness be passed a multi-page document. I think it's approximately 121 pages, and a disc. This has all been shown to defense counsel, who does not have an objection.
Okay. PD, do you want him to have them?
I would like for him to look at it,
Okay.
or just identify it. If I can move the iPhone into evidence as the next one. Detective Miller, do you recognize kind of the content of that document?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask that you retain it, and then it will be entered as an exemplary exhibit, which I believe would be 29. And the disc, I guess, can you describe, are there 3 video files within this presentation?
Yes, 3 slides have a video that are going to play for us.
Your Honor, I have his report in a digital format, if I may publish that to the jury.
Okay.
Detective Miller, this is the first page of that report. Can you describe what we're seeing?
Yes, so this is a consolidated page where I've taken information obtained from numerous different locations, but it's all pertaining to Ms. Benning's device.
And does it have kind of information about her user accounts as well as her phone number?
Yes, so there's a number of pieces of information that would be assigned by the cell phone or cell service provider, such as the cell phone number that would be down there towards the bottom. But a number of these pieces of information are actually provided by the user or the owner of the device, such as the name, the device's name, email addresses, things like that are associated with different accounts that are, or applications that are set up on the phone.
And this is the second page. Can you describe what is shown here?
This is a progress report from one of the tools that extracts data from the devices. This is just pointing out, referencing the portions of information that would have been added by the owner or user of the device, and again, the phone number for the device. Again, you can also see the suggested or the estimated partition size of the device, which is 129 gigs. It ended up being 127, but it's suggested or an estimated size of the device. And it goes on to explain a number of other things as it pertains to the phone that the user would have had 0 input from, the serial number, other numbers that are associated with the phone as well.
And page 3, can you describe what's shown here?
Yes, so again, this is user or owner input information. So the owner or user would have placed their photograph inside of their contact information, their name. They would have placed their address inside there as well. The interesting thing to note here is that significant locations, Apple has an algorithm that actually decides what your significant locations are. So she didn't even have to put that in, but the iPhone suggested that was most likely her phone because of a number of different reasons. But just an interesting note there.
And is that one of the things that you're looking for, is kind of user activity on a particular device?
Absolutely, yeah. These are some of the first things I look at on any device to try to identify the user and or owner of any device. So these are definitely very, very first steps.
And this next page, which is number 4, can you describe what's shown here?
Yes, this is a consolidated list of text messages that occurred between Ms. Benning and Mr. Taylor for the final day of her life.
And are these a consolidation of messages from the evening of 2/24/23 through 2/25/23 at 6:55 p.m.?
Yes, and I know I did just say that it was from the final day of her life on the 25th of February. The reason the 2 at the very top are listing as the 24th is because they were either read or reacted to on the 25th. So that's why those are there, because there are still portions of that conversation still existing on the 25th. That's why you'll still see that date up there at the top.
And this is page 5. Can you describe what is shown here?
This is a series of texts. I believe this is just a different portrayal of what we just looked at. So just like you would look at on your own phone, all the conversation that you would be submitting, all the text that you would be submitting in the conversation. They'll be residing on the right side of the screen, or at least extending from the right side of the screen. And those responding to you or who you're talking with is going to be extending from the left side of the screen. So very similar to what we're all used to. And this is one of the reasons the tools that we use are so helpful, just for everybody to understand a little bit better.
And for the record, can you read out the first message, who it's from, the content, and the date and time?
Yes. So anything submitted from Ms. Benning's device is actually going to be referred to as local user. And then it's going to have in kind of parentheses there the type and make and model of her device that she had, which was an iPhone 13 Pro Max. It was sent on, this first message was sent on 2/25/23 at 12:26 p.m. And it states also, will you be free around 7?
And this next page, which is 6, can you describe what's shown here?
Yes, this is a piece of location information that we located inside the device. It was where her phone actually stored her parking location when she parked at a Walmart as she was on her way home from work.
And that was at 4:05:48 p.m., is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And I'm going to go back to slide 5. Is that kind of that time frame of the last text message that she received from Mr. Blaise Taylor?
Correct, yes.
And this next page, which is number 7, can you describe what's shown here?
Again, it's a series of texts between Ms. Benning and Mr. Taylor, spanning from 4:27 p.m. to 6 p.m., or around 6 p.m., I'm sorry, 6:03.
And the next image, which is page 8.
Again, it's another piece of location information that we located on the phone, showing that she had arrived home and parked her car there at her residence at 4:38 p.m. on 2/25/23.
And the next image, which is page 9.
This is where we start going into a timeline, and it's not necessarily a step-by-step timeline. So we're not showing every single thing that occurred in her phone, because if we really showed that, we'd be here all day. Because a lot of things happen under the hood, and when we're looking at it, we're looking at more of what she was doing on the phone, what she was using, or what application she was using, who she was conversing with, and things of that nature. So this is kind of a bird's eye view of what she was doing at her apartment with her device for that evening, starting at around 6 p.m.
And she receives a text message at 6:02 p.m. from Jerry's Porter, and then she sends a text message at 6:03. Can you read out the content and the date and time of that message?
Of the 6:03 message?
Yes.
Okay. It says, let me know whenever you are headed this way.
And the next image, which is page 10, can you describe what's shown here?
Again, we're continuing on, and it's not going to be a minute by minute, just because we aren't necessarily doing something on our phone all the time, or at least most of us aren't. At 6:08, she received an email from one of her subscribed email groups that is subject is titled "Your Pregnancy, Week 23, Day 5." And she receives a text from Mr. Taylor at 6:26 p.m. That states "Okay," and then receives another text from Jerry's Porter at 6:43.
And the next image, which is page 11, can you describe what's shown here?
This is a post that Ms. Benning posted to Instagram. Appears to be a picture of what she was cooking that evening, with a phrase that she placed on top of the photograph saying, "If you know, you know."
And can you describe the artifact information and what the created date and time, as well as last access, last modified date time, kind of what that means?
Yes. So depending on the application that was utilized to take a photograph, because We know that we can take a photograph with the typical camera application on our device, but many social media applications access the same camera tool, but you're actually taking that photograph with another application, if that makes sense. So when that's done, there's a number of things that certain applications will hold on to with that picture. And it will say it was taken on this date. Sometimes it'll say the location the picture was taken. Sometimes it'll say if the photograph was edited, so on and so forth. Number of different things that different applications hold on to. Typically, social media applications scrub a lot of your personal information to protect you as the user. So it doesn't have location information typically. So you're not posting that kind of stuff to the world where somebody viewing it can say, oh, she's at home, or he's at home right now, or he's at work. So it's a security feature that the social media applications have. Ultimately, photograph was taken at 6:10 p.m. When it's last modified, that could be when she posted it. That could be when she edited it, if I could speak, I'm sorry. And those also could have been done at the exact same time, that as she was looking at the photograph that she just took with the application, she edited it and then posted it right after. So difficult to say exactly, but it's something along those lines.
And the next image, which is page, sorry, I need to go back. So we were just on 11, so this next one is page 12. Can you describe what's shown here?
Yes, this is a series of messages from Instagram.
And can you kind of rate out the content of them as well as the time?
Yes, so from Jade Tristan, which is Jade Benning's handle on on Instagram. That's her username, or what other people would see her as if they're looking at her page. She states chicken spaghetti at 6:17 p.m. on February 25th. States looks good just moments later. And then at 6:19, Bridget Burks liked the message and then said, are you making Alfredo at work, or are you off at 6:19:34? And then Jade responds, I'm off tonight.
And this next image, which is page 13, can you describe what this is?
This is another post from Instagram that is posted with someone has written on there, guess what I'm making. And it's in reference to the messages we just saw there.
And the time of this created, can you describe that?
Yeah, so created is going to be 6:16:44 p.m. And again, last accessed or modified is at 6:16:49.
And can you describe, is there data within this?
Blaise is on the way, Nikki. He wasn't there yet.
If this was something created by Jade Benning or created by Bridget Burks?
So it's difficult when some applications require internet connection and communication with that application's servers wherever they reside. When we have a device in our lab, we are disconnecting them from the outside world to preserve the data ultimately. So whether that's putting them in airplane mode or taking the SIM card out or a number of different ways, we are disconnecting them from the internet. So there's a number of things that are stored only on the servers for social media applications. There are some things that are stored on the device. They don't always coincide with each other. So when we disconnect them from the internet, there's a lot of things that we lose the ability to see, I guess, is the best way to explain it. So without serving Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or whoever the social media service is, without serving them with some sort of search warrant and them providing us information that's on their server, we're limited to what's only on the device.
Did you have additional information outside of the artifact information and the extraction from Detective Breeze about this particular photo?
About this photo, yes.
And what was that information?
That it was submitted, that it was posted by Jade's mother.
And the next image, which is page 14.
So this is a series of Snapchat messages that were sent by Jade to a series of individuals starting at 6:44 well, I'm sorry, they were all logged at 6:44 p.m. She sent 3 messages via Snapchat to the listed individuals there.
And can you explain Snapchat messages as it relates to finding artifacts on a mobile device? Is that something that is consistent, or how does that work?
It's very haphazard. It depends on user settings. It depends on how quickly we get a device after the conversation occurred. It depends on how many people were involved in the conversation. And again, this is another one of those applications like I was just referring to. It requires internet information or internet access for it to function to its fullest capability. So again, we're limited to what we see on the device itself.
And so, depending on settings, there can be additional Snapchat messages that you wouldn't find on the device. Is that correct?
Correct. Snapchat inherently is kind of designed as a security-based messaging system that if one-on-one you're having a conversation with somebody, those messages evaporate fairly quickly. When you start adding people to the conversation, those numbers change slightly, but ultimately they're designed to evaporate.
And if you're looking at a particular time frame and user activity, are there other databases within the extraction that you can look at user activity so that you can see if they were accessing the app? You might not be able to see what is happening within that app, but you could tell if they accessed it.
Yes, absolutely. There's a number of different databases. Well, ultimately, iPhones are running off of a series of databases. That's it. If you really boil it down, that's every application is its own database. If you look at an iPhone and their extractions, there are certain databases that Apple has created to monitor the use of the devices that are out there in the world. Apple does this for selfish reasons. They like to learn what we're doing as users, but they also are using that information to make better software, to make better hardware, and things of that nature. So a lot of those databases have a lot of good information that we will use in investigations. The other good thing is that none of those databases can be altered by the user. Some can be altered by the user, but not these databases that I'm referring to.
And the next image, which is page 14, can you describe 15, can you describe what is shown here?
Yes, so this is referring to a series of photographs that was taken with Jade's device over about a 1 minute period. And it's of the table that she set with the crafts and things that she was also planning on utilizing for the evening. So it's just kind of a pre-event photograph, I guess is a good way to explain it.
And does this photograph include what appears to be some type of Alfredo?
Yes.
As well as rolls?
Yes.
And can you just give the first image what the created date and time is, as well as the last one in that set?
Yes, the created date and time on the very first photograph was on February 25th, 23 at 6:47:26. And the last one is same date at 6:48:06.
Who moved the candle? Who moved the candle? Is that the candle right there in the middle? So if she thought the candle, let's just say that Najee thought the candle was still burning because when she came in, the candle was in the middle or in the kitchen near the paint stuff to set the mood, a little food by impromptu candlelight, paint by candlelight. Who moved it? Because I know you ain't blow it out, pick up a hot ass candle and put it in the room. And whatchamacallit says she saw the candle burning from the kitchen, saw it in the bedroom.
7.
And the first image is labeled file name img_3406.jpg. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this next image, which is page 16, can you describe what's shown here?
It's just a higher resolution version of the one we just looked at.
And this next image, which is page 17, can you describe what is shown?
So as I was referring to earlier, depending on the application that takes the photograph, a ton of information can be stored within that information. So We have a created date. We have the size of the actual image itself, original width and height. So if it's ever modified or cropped out, we can see if it is smaller. In fact, we can see that it was larger.
Same one
There might
from
be
the
something
room,
more
man.
that
I
we
ain't
need to
seen no
look
rim.
for. This one has location information as
Look like-
well, which indicates that the photograph was taken at Jade's apartment, along with the make and model of the device that it was taken. Just lots and lots of information that's stored just for that one photograph.
And this next image, which is page 18, can you describe what's shown here?
Again, ultimately a wider angle view of what we just looked at. So kind of taking a picture of the entire countertop there or island that has, again, all the arts and craft and the dinner that Jade has prepared for the evening.
And this is the image ends in 3407.
Correct, yes.
And the next image, which is page 19, can you describe what's shown here?
Moments later, another photograph labeled IMG_3408 is, again, just from a slightly different angle, but ultimately a very, very similar photograph to the last.
And the next image, which is page 20.
Again, moments later, this one ending in 3409 from the opposite end of the countertop, but ultimately the same photograph.
And the next image, which is page 21.
Ending in 3410.jpg, basically the same picture again, just a whole series of them.
And this next image, which is page 22.
So this is one of those photographs being shared with an individual saved in her contact list as B. This was sent at 6:48:26 p.m.
And can you explain what the, I guess, kind of object is under the message column for that communication with B?
Oh, under the additional detail, yes. So the software is only as good as it understands what Apple operating system is, how it's reading it. So as any software exists in the world, there's constantly updates. Things are altered slightly, databases are altered slightly. At this time, so that being said, there's constant cat and mouse games of our software and our hardware being able to catch up and do and understand everything that iPhone is currently running at that time. So it's always a cat and mouse game. At this
Next weird point, as Real pointed out, looks like Chef Jade cleans while she cooks. But not only did we already have previous photos showing that Jade had already put away the food and already had put it up for the night, we showed that she had already began to plate the food. She was already giving a performance. But not only that, even if you didn't want to think whether or not she had time to clean, the location data just said that Jade was at home and parked around 4:38 p.m. 6:26 p.m. Blaise was saying, okay, I'll let you know when I'm on my way. So, okay to her, let me know when you're on your way text. So 2 hours later, almost, Blaise isn't even on the way yet. She had plenty of time because, I mean, Alfredo really don't take that much, but yeah. It just gets weirder.
At this point in time, our software was not able to provide an exact sample image or a preview of that image that was sent in the message. So it shows that an object was sent with just a very basic icon saying an object was sent in this message. Looking at the artifact information for the message itself, again, it says an object just there to the right of the word message. But if we go down a little bit lower and look at the attachment path, and if we follow that all the way to the very end, you'll see that there's a title of the image that was actually sent. If you search for that title, then you can reference back to what was actually sent, which is how we identified the photograph that was sent in that message.
And the next image, which is page 23.
Between 6:51 and 6:55, A few text messages are shared between Blaise and Jade. Mr. Taylor,
I'm sorry, can you describe the content of the messages?
Yes, on 2/25/23 at 6:51, message was sent to Jade from Blaise that states "on my way," and roughly 4 minutes later, Jade loved that image or hearted that image, or that, I'm sorry, that message.
And what else is included on this page 23?
At 6:55 p.m., Jarius Porter received a message from Jade.
Tell you what.
And is it received or sent?
So,
Oh, she's.
yeah. I'm sorry. I said that in a.
I haven't had it
She submitted
in a minute
text
too.
to him. She sent it to him.
And the next page, which is 24.
I'm sorry. So this is a phone call that was an incoming call to Jade's phone from Mr. Taylor's device.
And can you?
And he was on time.
It was at February 25th, 23 at 6:59:49 p.m.
And what was the call duration?
It was 10 seconds.
I'm not so much.
Jade was finna give out some plates, baby.
Okay.
Alfredo likes to get it tastes good the next day, you know?
Further, I think court staff told you about an event the court needs to go to just briefly down the hallway. That will be also during the time you break for lunch. So remember what I said about not discussing the case, wanting any opinion about it, the other admonitions. We'll get back here, just say around 2:20, 25, something like that. You'll step down the hallway.
It did say Jade made a lot of food. Maybe she's gonna take some for her coworkers or something.
Okay, just give y'all additional time too, with break till 2:30. That work? Okay.
All righty. So we are on lunch for the next hour. He said about 2:25 Central. Is that what he said? Yeah, because 11 is 1:21 there. All right, guys. So we'll be back in an hour now because I'm about to pretty Ricky. Okay. Tonight. We're going to go ahead and take a break. I'm not going to stay on today. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in an hour. I'll create another stream. I'm going to go ahead and try to get out these recaps as early as I can, as much as I can, because I'm not missing this verses tonight. All right, y'all. See y'all in an hour.